Earth football, Cristiano Ronaldo thought I would go assist him. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination. So don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like. And if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 451 The Internet Changes Football. This commentator is Wei. Unfortunately, traditional media companies face enormous investment challenges in establishing a presence in Europe. Everyone says the internet will change people's lives, but in China in 2012, this change was still in its infancy. Even elementary school textbooks included a lesson about how in the future, you can simply order things from home and have them delivered. At that stage, both children and adults thought this lesson was nonsense. Too advanced. Too futuristic. We'll never see it in our lifetime, maybe our grandchildren will? However, in reality, just 10 years later, the internet truly has changed people's lives. Those at the forefront of this change, even a pig, might take flight. But truly successful platforms like Taobao require massive capital and extremely strong connections. Almost every successful internet brand we know today is owned by the children of wealthier, powerful families. Normal people will never be able to enter these large, lucrative sectors. But smaller sectors are possible: football websites, basketball websites, car review and recommendation websites, game review and recommendation websites, novel websites, and so on. Dongqiudi is playing something very new, something that domestic media outlets can hardly catch up to. The biggest problem is that they can make a living just from domestic league news. There's no reason for them to spend so much money hiring people to be war correspondents in Europe. Earning RMB but spending euros, even the biggest company can't support that kind of spending. Conversely, the owner behind Dongqiudi currently earns and spends euros, and even RMB. Moreover, Dongqiudi itself is discussing deeper cooperation with clubs like Sporting Lisbon and Manchester City, and if successful, they can receive significant promotional fees from the clubs. In this way, the website directly passed its initial startup phase and entered the profit-making phase. With a large influx of fans, the Dongqiudi website crashed again. Zhang Yunzu's face was slapped hard. Well, that word, let's not get into that. But fortunately, the website's server was successfully restored before the match started. Dongqiudi also immediately released an incident report analysis to shift the blame to its owner, Zhang. Judging from the IP addresses, the culprit for this outage wasn't domestic fans, but Japanese fans. An article on the sports website Dongqiudi titled Champions League Round of 16, an Asian derby. Japan's darling Inamoto Junichi versus Lisbon's Genghis Khan Wu Zedong, ignited the Japanese football industry. Football holds a far higher status in Japan and South Korea than in China. This is because Japan and South Korea use it to align with the mainstream European scene and appropriately break free from the constraints of their American daddies. China, while able to align with Europe, can also set new standards in other areas and attempt to become the center of the world. Joining someone else's game is less effective than creating your own. Instead of focusing on the game itself, it's better to invest in heavy industry, infrastructure, and technological research that can significantly enhance national strength, achieving a leapfrog development. Take the automotive industry, for example. The country invested so much, but faced external threats and internal corruption, resulting in decades of stagnant technology development while ceding the entire market to others. Domestic consumers paid the highest prices for the most basic cars, received the worst service, and had to pay extra to get their vehicles. Since gasoline cars couldn't take off, okay, I'll make electric cars, I'll start afresh. And what was the result? In just 10 years, China's electric vehicle technology, quality, and service have developed rapidly, transforming the country from one lagging behind in gasoline-powered vehicles to one of the world's leading nations in electric vehicle products. The rise of electric vehicles is forcing gasoline-powered vehicles to lower prices, share technology, and open up patents. Both electric vehicle and gasoline-powered vehicle enthusiasts will benefit. The decades of frustration endured by Chinese car fans can finally be avenged. That would be incredibly satisfying. Therefore, in my country, only with national attention can an industry develop rapidly. Consequently, Most football fans can see that Chinese football will not see much improvement in the next 30 years. Those corrupt officials dare to act so brazenly in this industry precisely because they are clever enough. Hello everyone, you are now watching the third round of the second stage of the UEFA Champions League group stage, broadcast by CCTV5, with Sporting Lisbon hosting Arsenal. I am your commentator for this match, Wang Jiangxiang, and sitting next to me is intern commentator He Wei. We won't go into too much detail about Sporting Lisbon. The fans watching on TV probably know this team better than I do, because they are good friends of Chinese football. The core of this team is the famous patriotic Chinese-American star, Deng Kai. The team's assistant coach is none other than Mr. Maxi, who led Chinese football to the finals of this summer's Korea-Japan World Cup. He Wei, sitting beside him, was quite confused. Wasn't it agreed that we wouldn't introduce Sporting Lisbon? This is. Wang Jiangxiang smiled slightly. If you take what netizens say seriously, you've already lost. They all say they'll never watch the garbage national team again, but when the national team has a major match, do you see them paying attention? If I dared not introduce Sporting Lisbon, the fans would immediately fire me. As Deng Kai, a popular sports commentator, said, there are many highlights in today's match. First, it's the Asian derby. Our young player Wu Zidane is on the roster for this match, and may have a chance to come on as a substitute. Japanese player Inamoto Junichi is also on Arsenal's roster. In terms of nicknames, Wu Zidane is undoubtedly stronger. He's from Toglio, NMG, and is jokingly called the Genghis Khan of Lisbon by domestic fans. Besides Wu Zidane, we also hope that Yang Chen, Fan Ziyi, Sun Jihei, Chen Tao, Yu Shihao, Hao Jinmin, Xiao Jiaoyi, and more Chinese players will be able to appear on the European stage in the future. Wang Jiangxiang glanced at He Wei, who quickly added, the second highlight is the battle between the Touré brothers. Arsenal's substitute centre-back Kolo Touré and Sporting Lisbon starting defensive midfielder Yaya Touré are brothers, with the former being the older brother. After being rejected by Arsenal during his trial, Yaya Touré joined Sporting Lisbon. So far, while his performance hasn't been dazzling, it's been commendable. At his age, he's still worth the fans' expectations. Wang Jiangxiang, the third point of interest is Zlatan Ibrahimovic's performance in this match. Judging from the pre-match starting lineup, Ibrahimovic replaced Drogba as the team's starting centre-forward. This change is definitely related to Arsenal. After all, the fact that Ibrahimovic refused a trial and was subsequently dropped by Wenger was a hot topic in the football world. Over the course of the season, Ibrahimovic has proven himself with his excellent performance. Chapter 452 A single arrow piercing the clouds, hated by 1,000 armies. This man is called He-Man, with 39.5 years of training experience. Last season, Ibrahimovic and Duncan were both Golden Boot winners in the Portuguese Cup. Everyone believes his talent far surpasses Drogba's, including Drogba himself. Hopefully, Ibrahimovic will have a brilliant performance today. After this introduction, the match officially began. Wang Jiangxiang quickly shared one last essential piece of pre-match knowledge with the fans. Finally, before this match, some media outlets reported that Arsenal had made an offer for Duncan during the winter transfer window. Wenger confirmed this, but after Arsenal's offer was announced, it was seen as a provocation by Portuguese fans. The practice of reporting a pre-match offer to buy the opponent's key player is a common tactic of the English media. It can effectively demoralize the opponent and create a sense of superiority. And this offer itself, wanting to take both Duncan and Ronaldo for €20 million, is an insult to these two players. We expect Ronaldo and Duncan to respond to Wenger with their performance in this match. Beep. Just as Wang Jiangxiang finished speaking, the referee on the screen pointed to the center circle, indicating that the goal was valid. He Wei, who had loved literature since childhood, spontaneously recited in a powerful voice, a magnificent goal. Bergkamp's world-class strike pierced the goal, like an arrow piercing the clouds, sweeping away 1,000 troops. 1,000 troops are annoying. Wang Jiangxiang stepped on He Wei's foot and quickly chimed in, this is such a pity. I didn't expect Arsenal to take the lead after only 5 minutes. He Wei was stunned. This. Wang Jiangxiang's stance is too clear, isn't it? Is he not allowed to praise Arsenal? As commentators, shouldn't we be impartial? Arsenal's goal can't be praised, so Wang Jiangxiang's team is Sporting Lisbon, right? Wang Jiangxiang saw He Wei's expression and shook his head slightly. This chubby kid has no talent, he can't be developed. What do you mean my team? That's the team of all Chinese fans. Arsenal's gorgeous style of play is very popular all over the world, and they have a lot of fans in China. But do they have any famous Chinese stars? Do they have any young Chinese players in their first team? Does his youth academy have a dozen future Chinese stars? What is fairness? Does the absence of subjectivity necessarily equate to fairness? If two people, one strong and one weak, are fighting, and you ignore it, that's protecting the stronger one, that's not fairness. Soon, a complaint call came in. The director immediately told Huey in his headset, "Don't praise Arsenal, at least not this game. Based on the patterns we've observed from broadcasting Sporting Lisbon matches, even if the opponent is Manchester United, Bayern Munich, Juventus, or Real Madrid, you absolutely cannot praise the opponent. If Kale is on the pitch, praise Kale. If Kale isn't, praise Ronaldo. If neither Ronaldo nor Kale, then it's Maxi." Huey nodded repeatedly. The focus returned to the field. Schmeichel and Duncan were communicating with Vidic, the latter mainly responsible for calming him down. Sporting Lisbon's lineup for this match was Ronaldo, Ibrahimovic, Kaká, Duncan, Ronaldinho, Yaya Touré, Guardiola, Pepe, Vidic, Barzagli, Schmeichel. Arsenal's lineup was Henry, Bergkamp, Pires, Vieira, Parler, Ljungberg, Ashley Cole, Martin Keown, Campbell, Lauren, and Seaman. In the 5th minute, Ljungberg launched a cross from the wing. It wasn't a perfect opportunity, but Vidic misjudged the clearance, passing the ball directly to Bergkamp at the edge of the penalty area. The Ice Prince met the ball with a perfect volley, scoring Arsenal's first goal of the match 1-0. Deng Kai jumped up and patted Vidic on the back of the head. "It's okay. The main problem with this goal was Guardiola's poor protection of the penalty area. You're just taking the blame for him." Hearing this, Vidic immediately straightened up. Guardiola. In the 9th minute, Guardiola feinted past Deng Kai and passed to Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho made a dribbling feint and chipped the ball away, preparing to accelerate down the wing. But the next moment, he was caught up by Ashley Cole and pushed out of bounds. After making the tackle, Cole immediately dribbled the ball down the wing and launched a counter-sprint. Ronaldinho made a token attempt to keep up with Cole, but finding he couldn't, he simply stopped. Cole moved at high speed down the left flank, and Barzagli, not daring to rush in, retreated repeatedly, hoping to wait for Guardiola to cover. However, when Guardiola pounced, Cole simply poked the ball along the sideline, accelerated twice, and outmaneuvered Guardiola. Bang! Cole delivered a diagonal pass before Barzagli could react. Henry, the Highbury speedster, moved to his left, received the ball, made a slight adjustment, and unleashed a long-range shot from a tight angle. This was like treating Schmeichel like Arsenal seaman. Even heaven grows old with feelings, and encountering Hart is a recipe for disaster. This refers to England's goalkeeper Joe Hart's blunders. But before Hart, England's purest example of blunders was Seaman. Seaman, born in 1963, has been training for 39.5 years. His skill is phenomenal. Bang! Schmeichel makes a brilliant save, denying the French star's long-range shot. When Henry came to the Premier League, Schmeichel had just transferred from Manchester United to Sporting Lisbon, and the two missed each other. However, when Manchester United won the treble in 1999, Schmeichel's Manchester United and Henry's Juventus had a fierce battle in the Champions League semi-final. Ultimately, Manchester United came back from 2-2 down to defeat Juventus 3-2. At that time, Schmeichel was Manchester United's undisputed first choice in front of goal, while Henry was just one of many substitute options in Juventus' attack, scoring only 3 goals in 16 games throughout the season. In the 10th minute, Arsenal took a corner kick through Pires. Vieira leaped high, overpowering the equally tall Yaya Touré to head the ball towards goal. Touré didn't put much pressure on Vieira, but Vieira himself didn't head the ball correctly, missing the opportunity to extend Arsenal's lead. In the 23rd minute, it was Ljungberg again, and he launched a simple cross from the right flank. This time, Vidic didn't make a mistake, heading the ball precisely to Guardiola near the edge of the penalty area. However, Guardiola, facing Vidic, was unaware of what was behind him. He instinctively turned and attempted a long clearance, but miskicked. The ball rolled towards the edge of the penalty area. Vieira, the defensive midfielder for both France and Arsenal, rushed in and unleashed a powerful shot. It lacked Bergkamp's elegance, but was far more violent. Historically, there are very few defensive midfielders who possess both top-tier defensive and offensive abilities. But in this era, there are two, both in the Premier League. One is Roy Keane, captain of Manchester United. The other is Patrick Vieira, captain of Arsenal. P.S. For girls in Chengdu who want photos taken, you can join the book club group to ask. The photographer is Peach's good friend. Male fans who want to arrange this for their partners, if you have one, but Peach finds it hard to believe, are also welcome to do so. Please note, serious inquiries only. Add her only if you're sure you want to film, otherwise Peach will get criticized. Thank you everyone. By the way, don't mention that Peach recommended her. Keep it a secret, you know. Chapter 453 The Three Great Sages, each with their own strengths. Goal. 2-0. Vieira almost blew up Sporting Lisbon's goal. Sporting Lisbon is in big trouble. These two goals are not what a team of their caliber should be making. Vidic and Guardiola both made clearance errors. They acted like two elementary school students. In fact, this has happened before in the Portuguese league. Sporting Lisbon's players have been quite inconsistent in recent matches. Their running distance has clearly decreased, and their aggressiveness on the field is also questionable. They've reached a period of physical exhaustion. Guardiola is playing his first match without a winter break and seems very uncomfortable. Remember, he's already 30 years old, he's not young anymore. Guardiola was speechless. Damn it. This mistake was indeed caused by internal problems. Guardiola didn't keep turning his head to observe the surroundings during his defensive runs. This is subconscious. Midfielders usually have good observation habits. But subconscious actions decrease subconsciously when you're fatigued, and you're unlikely to consciously notice it. Guardiola believes the team shouldn't blame him. After all, he suffered so many injuries in his later years at Barcelona. He played at a high level for half a season at Sporting Lisbon. What more could he ask for? Deng Kai agreed with Guardiola's assessment and signaled for Guardiola and Yaya Toure to switch positions. He then communicated with his teammates, instructing the team to focus on attacking down the right flank for the time being, letting Ronaldinho try and see if he could create a breakthrough with his technique. If Ronaldinho didn't work, then they'd have to resort to a more aggressive, defensive approach. Cristiano Ronaldo? Kaká? Tactics, a surround-the-flank tactic. You speedsters shouldn't be so sensitive. Ronaldinho, try not to accelerate too much unless you've completely disarmed him. Deng Kai instructed Ronaldinho on how to beat Cole. Although Ashley Cole is only 22 years old, he became Arsenal's first-choice left-back last season. This season, his performance has further improved, making him an absolute starter for the team. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, he's expected to make 40 appearances for the team this season. Cole is incredibly fast and has excellent running ability. The English style of defense means his tackling ability is also outstanding. His strength is his resilience. He's not easily broken down. However, his weakness lies in the team's playing style, which limits his potential. He lacks the ability to turn the tide and can't be a clutch player. Ronaldinho has excellent explosiveness, but compared to Cole, he's still a bit lacking, as just now demonstrated. But if Ronaldinho can slow down Cole's speed, Cole will be in trouble. Sure enough, in the next few minutes, Ronaldinho put on a personal dribbling show. Cole was instantly put on the defensive. Whenever Cole made a careless tackle, Ronaldinho could get past him. But if he didn't tackle, Ronaldinho could try to orchestrate the attack, creating some threatening passes. Fortunately, Vieira's coverage area was large enough to help defend Cole, otherwise, Arsenal's left flank would have been truly in danger. In the 29th minute, after drawing Vieira away, Ronaldinho chipped the ball back to Duncan. Duncan met the ball with a powerful volley, sending it to the left. Deng Kai's signature move has appeared, a super fast pass. Sporting Lisbon completed the attacking transition from right to left in almost half a second. Arsenal's defense on this side is clearly insufficient. This is the time to test their defensive transition ability. Arsenal's other defensive midfielder, Parler, obviously didn't expect Deng Kai's pass to be so quick. This pass completely pierced him. Kaká accelerates. He and Arsenal's right back, Lauren, engage in a fierce 20-meter sprint. Both of Arsenal's fullbacks are very fast, which is one of the important foundations for their dazzling attacks. But Kaká's speed seems no slower than Lauren's. Lauren ultimately chooses a conservative approach, allowing Kaká to gain possession. Kaká receives the ball and passes it across. Ronaldo hits a 1-2. He's past him. With Ronaldo's help, Kaká completely shakes off Lauren with a 1-2. Ronaldo rushes into the penalty area, raising his hand to ask for the ball. Kaká slows down, adjusts slightly, and crosses. Ronaldo leaps high at the near post, a million miles away from the ball. Ibrahimovic. The Swedish tower takes flight. He's marked Keown, won the position. Goal. Goal. Beautiful pass, beautiful cross from the wing. Zlatan. Ibrahimovic. Alvalade Stadium instantly became a sea of joy. Fans chanted repeatedly, Zlatan. 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 Ibrahimovic turned to Wenger without hesitation, as if asking, "Do you think someone like me still needs a trial?" Wenger had his hands in his pockets, but no shirt pockets. He kept repeating the gesture, clearly not happy. But not angry. He'd seen plenty of unruly young players, he had a good attitude. Both were considered three football sages skilled at developing young players. Wenger's secret was a calm and detached attitude. Trigueros' secret was targeted technical training. And Max's secret was choice. Choosing the right big man and clinging to him tightly. That's it. Cheer up. You guys did a great job. Max roared near the microphone. Trigueros was in charge of tactics, and Max was in charge of the atmosphere. They were working well together. After all, he had a more magnetic, husky voice. For a while afterward, Arsenal and Sporting Lisbon traded attacks. Pires contributed a threatening shot, but the ball went wide of the far post. Conversely, Arsenal didn't have a good solution for Ronaldinho's dribbling. He was a reliable ball carrier for Sporting Lisbon on the right flank, providing a foundation for tactical versatility. In the 39th minute, Duncan helped Ronaldinho get past Cole with a 1-2. Vieira, equally prepared, seized the opportunity to push past Ronaldinho and steal the ball. Duncan couldn't let Vieira have the ball for a counter-attack, so he slid in with a tackle. The tall Vieira fell flat on his face. But the referee didn't blow the whistle, deeming Duncan's tackle justified. And indeed it was. But the Arsenal players were unhappy about it. Parler, Cole, Keown, and others rushed to the scene. Seeing Vieira lying on the ground in pain, Deng Kai offered a helping hand. It was as if to say, "How are you feeling? If you're not injured, I'll help you up." On the Sporting Lisbon side, the other players, seeing this, were also considering whether to go and assist Deng Kai. But just then, a loud bang. Next to the scene of Deng Kai bending down to help Vieira, Cole, with quick reflexes, kicked the ball away. Because he saw that Schmeichel was no longer in the penalty area. Chapter 454 The first Chinese player to appear in the Champions League. This goal. Cole scored with a super long kick from his own half. A huge chorus of boos erupted from the stadium. Sporting Lisbon fans are extremely unhappy with this goal. What did the referee say? The Sporting Lisbon players are complaining, and Ronaldinho excitedly rushes towards Cole. Yaya Touré, Guardiola, Ibrahimovic, Kaká, Barzagli, the Sporting Lisbon players all surrounded him. This goal was definitely questionable. Arsenal players went down and abandoned the game, surrounding Duncan. Duncan, concerned about Vieira's condition, also inquired about the latter's situation and attempted to reach out to help Vieira. The big screen is replaying the shot. Through this replay, we can see that the referee intended to signal a pause in the game, but Parler interrupted the referee. So, according to the rules of the game is still continuing, and Cole's shot was not problematic. But from a humanitarian perspective, Cole's actions were somewhat inappropriate. After all, it was his teammate who was lying on the ground groaning and indicating that he was injured. The referee points to the center circle, signaling a goal. 3-1, Arsenal has extended their lead to 2 goals again. This was a refereeing error, but Sporting Lisbon bears the consequences. I believe the referee will apologize to Sporting Lisbon after the match, but it won't change anything. In the intense group stage of the round of 16, every goal is crucial. This goal could very well be the turning point of the match. Wang Jiangxiang was furious. But he also knew that such a low probability event was truly unavoidable. The reason the phrase misjudgments are part of the game is so harsh yet still circulates in football is because such situations are unsolvable. On the field, Arsenal protected Cole, the atmosphere was tense, but no real fight broke out. Arsenal knew they were morally inferior in this situation. He's young, he's just a kid, Vieira was negotiating with Deng Kai. Deng Kai nodded, I understand that, but you need to see more from Cole's attitude towards you. Everything that just happened is right before our eyes. Your players surrounded me, the referee didn't blow the whistle, But my teammates were all gathering here. Do you know what that means? That's the impact of a key player. Sporting Lisbon is indeed far inferior to Arsenal in many ways. But in terms of team core, team captain, dressing room leader, and many other dimensions, I surpass you by a great deal. These things may not necessarily help Sporting Lisbon beat Arsenal, but they can help me surpass you in my long career. Vieira's face changed. So you're showing off that you're ranked higher than me in the Ballon d'Or and FIFA World Player of the Year awards? Kid. Deng Kai shook his head. I just want to tell you, if you don't want to leave a place you love in a sorry state and become enemies with those you love, you should pay more attention to observation and cultivation in your daily life. 30 is a hurdle for all players. To become a legend, you must ensure you still have a high status in the team after 30. You're 28 this year. Do you think you can still be a starter at Arsenal after 30? Or rather, you think you can, but when the outside world thinks you can't, will you have the opportunity to prove yourself? Vieira was speechless. Are you trying to disrupt my mindset, trying to help the team score goals when I'm down? Deng Kai walked towards the midfield with a smile. It's already worked, hasn't it? Vieira instantly broke down. Seeking a higher status in the team was something he had been doing at Arsenal and the French national team. But the results were not obvious. He arrived 2 years earlier than Henry, but Henry is now far more popular at Highbury than Vieira. Not to mention the star-studded French national team. In addition, there's Mr. Wenger. To be honest, Deng Kai's treatment at Sporting Lisbon would be the envy of many teams' core players. Is this playing football? This is like being an emperor. This small conflict made the players on both sides a bit more temperamental. Both sides' tactics were somewhat distorted. No goals were scored in the following period. But Wu Zedong, who stayed on the pitch to warm up during halftime, thrilled Chinese fans. Wang Jiangxian exclaimed, "Wow! Wu didn't go to the locker room. He's warming up. It seems Trigura gave him a task, he'll most likely play in the second half. So exciting. If Wu plays, he'll become the first Chinese player to appear in the second group stage of the Champions League. That's an absolute honor. The Asian derby is almost halfway over. As for the remaining half, it'll depend on the efforts of the Japanese, the Japanese player Inamoto Junichi, who's doing quite well. The news that Wu Zedong is warming up and preparing to play spread throughout Chinese football. Whether it was Fan Ziyi in Dundee, Yang Chen in Frankfurt, Sun Jiahe who joined Manchester City, or Yu Shihao and Xiao Jiaoyi sitting in the stands at the Alvalade Stadium, everyone was excited. At the beginning of the season, amidst fierce competition, Wu Zedong was slightly inferior to Macon and became a substitute. Later, due to Ronaldinho, the team changed tactics, and Macon suddenly became a substitute as well. Wu Zedong's pecking order naturally falls further back. Therefore, Wu Zedong has only had a few appearances in the league and has yet to make his official debut in the Champions League. So, this is a milestone moment for Chinese football. But so many fans came with high hopes, only to witness a less than pleasing scene. In the 52nd minute, Bergkamp delivered a beautiful through ball. Henry received the ball on the left wing, outmaneuvered Barzagli, and with Barzagli using both hands and feet, burst into the left side of the penalty area and scored from a tight angle, unstoppable. Oh no. Sporting Lisbon's worst fears have come true. 4-1. Arsenal are up by 3 goals. This means they'll take 3 points from Lisbon, at the very least finishing second in the group. With the second group stage halfway through, if Sporting Lisbon only has 3 points, it will be difficult for them to advance to the quarterfinals. This team squad is still a bit weak, the veterans are too old, the young players are too young, and they lack players truly in their prime. This goal is a testament to Henry's individual ability, but it's also another instance of Guardiola being outmaneuvered by a through ball. Oh. A substitution has been called on the sidelines. Sporting Lisbon must make adjustments. 2 players are on the sidelines, and their adjustments are quite significant. Chapter 455 1 star, 6 arrows, Wu Zedong. Wu Zedong replaced Guardiola. This substitution isn't a big problem. Guardiola's performance today is like the price of his autographed football on the Lisbon black market, worthless. But if Wu Zedong comes on, won't Deng Kai's position have to move deeper? Wu Zedong plays right winger or right midfielder, he can play those positions, and he's extremely fast. Then Deng Kai and Touré will form a double defensive midfield, a double sweeping attack. Deng Kai will focus on interceptions, and Touré on tackling. They've played this combination in the league before, and it worked quite well. Wait? Touré has also been substituted. Then the Touré brothers duel that the fans were hoping for is over. The camera also focused on Kolo Touré on the Arsenal bench. Drogba? How could this be? Sporting Lisbon didn't bring on defenders like Veloso, Font, or Deschamps, but Drogba? The entire stadium was in astonishment. Wenger frequently turned to look at Trigueros, trying to confirm if the latter had made the wrong substitution. However, Trigueros stood on the sidelines with his arms crossed, nodding to Deng Kai. Deng Kai then directed his teammates to change positions. Sporting Lisbon's new formation quickly emerged: Cristiano Ronaldo, Drogba, Ibrahimovic, Kaká, Ronaldinho, Wu Zedong, Deng Kai, Pepe, Vidic, Barzagli, and Schmeichel 3-1-3-3. Or rather, 1 star at 6 forwards. When actually attacking, Ibrahimovic would drift towards the center, and Wu Zedong would move forward, forming a 4-forward formation of Ronaldo, Drogba, Ibrahimovic, and Wu Zedong. Kaká and Ronaldinho could even freely push forward in the 5 spaces between them. In the most extreme case, the 6 players could form a horizontal version of a long, straight line, with 2 or more players always in open space. If there were a special player to deal the damage, it would be the most unsolvable tactic in competitive sports like football, basketball, and rugby: a blind, unstoppable attack. He's gone mad. Trigueros must be crazy. This way, Sporting Lisbon is practically handing over their entire back line to Arsenal. They'll be torn to shreds by Arsenal. Hiway was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe this was the choice of a professional head coach. This is practically a gift. Is Sporting Lisbon throwing the match? Did Arsenal buy their goal difference? That makes perfect sense. After all, their Champions League round of 16 performance completely met, or even exceeded, Sporting Lisbon's expectations for this season's Champions League. Earning some money on goal difference will allow them to strengthen their squad next year. Arsenal has finally figured it out. Rather than being constantly overtaken by Manchester United in the Premier League, they'd rather achieve success in the Champions League and then return to England. Brilliant. Fans, the match is about to get exciting. Wang Jiangxiang, however, had a different opinion. This is an ultimate attacking formation. Considering that Deng Kai's passes are hard to completely shut down, Sporting Lisbon's counter-attacking frenzy is about to begin. Arsenal is a typical attacking team, and now Sporting Lisbon will have to compete with them in attack, minimizing the gap in defensive strength between the two sides. Come on, Sporting Lisbon. I believe you can create a miracle. Hiway, watching the already frenzied Wang Jiangxiang, looked down on the senior commentator while secretly shouting in his heart, "Our Arsenal is invincible. 1 star and 6 arrows, I still have an 8 heart, 8 arrow sapphire mirror." In the 57th minute, less than 5 minutes after Sporting Lisbon's bizarre adjustment, Pepe intercepted and passed to Deng Kai. Bergkamp immediately tried to press Deng Kai, but Deng Kai was too fast. Bang! Back to goal, without looking, and without stopping the ball, he randomly spun his left and right feet and kicked a long ball. It was a random kick. The ball flew towards the left flank. Cristiano Ronaldo moved with lightning speed, racing against Lauren. Lauren could have easily marked Deng Kai tightly. But Kaká suddenly cut behind Lauren, and Ronaldinho also moved in to support Deng Kai in the left attacking midfield position, forming a triangle with Lauren in the center. Sporting Lisbon's numerical advantage in the attacking third became immediately apparent. To play it safe, Lauren had to let Ronaldo receive the ball, preventing Ronaldo from crossing or dribbling, while signaling to her teammates to mark Kaká, who was about to break into the penalty area. Bang! Ronaldo passed back to Ronaldinho, who had come to receive the ball. Vieira, who had rushed towards the spot, immediately turned to cover Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho, with his back to Vieira, passed the ball back to Deng Kai without stopping it. Vieira, worried that Ronaldinho would turn and dribble past him, stretched out his leg to try and tackle, kicking Ronaldinho's heel. Ronaldinho fell to the ground. The referee put his whistle to his lips, indicating that the attack was in play. Hiway unconsciously shook his head. Deng Kai shouldn't have handled that ball, he should have asked the referee for a free kick. Because Ronaldinho fell in a good position, a mid to long range free kick spot, perfect for a free kick. If Deng Kai were to handle the ball and it were intercepted, Sporting Lisbon would essentially be handing the ball a one-on-one opportunity. Which is more important? Isn't that obvious? On the pitch, Deng Kai met the ball with a long kick, a feint that sent Ljungberg flying as he pressured from the side. Bang! Deng Kai swung his leg again, this time a real pass. Right side of the penalty area, at the far post. Ronaldo, Kaká, and Ronaldinho on the left had just drawn Arsenal's defensive attention. Now the ball was on the right, maximizing the use of the pitch. Drogba was engaged in a fierce battle with Campbell inside the penalty area. Ibrahimovic was also moving towards the penalty area from the right, but he was slower. Outside Ibrahimovic's position, Wu Zedong surged forward from the back, incredibly fast. Ashley Cole, who had just started his run, couldn't keep up without reaching his maximum speed. This ball was aimed at Wu Zedong. Only Wu Zedong could catch up. Bang! After catching up with the ball, Wu Zedong didn't control it because Ashley Cole was closing in. Wu Zedong delivered a cutback pass, and his momentum carried him out of bounds. Even Ashley Cole behind him couldn't stop and rushed out. But Wu Zedong didn't even have time to get up after rolling, he was already kneeling on the ground, looking towards the goal. On the right side of the penalty area, slightly outside, Ibrahimovic's deliberately slow movement added layers to Sporting Lisbon's attack. Drogba and Wu Zedong were at the forefront, with him in the second tier. Ronaldinho, outside the left edge of the penalty area, was in the third tier. This clearly defined attack allowed for wave after wave of attacks. Like an unending tide. And if a wave of attacks failed to create opportunities, possession was lost. Bang! Facing Keown, Ibrahimovic decisively fired a shot. Keown raised his left foot to block, betting Ibrahimovic would hit the near post. Similarly, Arsenal goalkeeper Seaman also rushed to that side. Because it's difficult for Ibrahimovic to get the ball on the right side of the penalty area, dribbling with his right foot to the far corner while getting around the defenders. But Chapter 456 The Ultimate Defense, a classic match in the Champions League. Ibrahimovic weaved through the defense, feinting a shot before cutting inside. He passed Keown, elbowing him to stop Keown's hand grabbing. He followed up with a left-footed shot. Seaman immediately scrambled to his feet and lunged towards the left side of the goal. But Ibrahimovic's foot stopped just above the ball. Another feint. After Seaman had completely cleared the ball, Ibrahimovic chipped it to the right. Just before Campbell could react, he completed a series of fancy moves. The ball flew over Seaman's waist and into the net. Alvalade Stadium fell silent. 3 seconds later, the drums sounded. Ibrahimovic raised his hands, turning to look at Wenger again. And Wenger finally couldn't hold back any longer. A brace. This was the Ibrahimovic he hadn't been able to keep. Zlatan, the commentator shouted. Ibrahimovic, the fans chanted Ibrahimovic's name wildly. That was a truly beautiful goal. Whether it was Kai's pass, Wu Zedong's triangular cross, or Ibrahimovic's final dreamlike footwork, it was all mesmerizing. It was the pinnacle of organization, speed, and technique. It was the most complete picture of a goal. In the shot, Ibrahimovic, Wu Zedong, and Deng Kai stood together. A right foot step forward, a horse stance. Left and right hands raised, a wild horse parting its mane. Next came the white crane spreads wings, left and right knee-hugging steps, finally culminating in Bruce Lee's signature provocative gesture, one hand low, one high, the lower hand even beckoning towards the camera. The meaning was, come here. Oh. These are movements from Chinese Tai Chi. This is a surprise from Ibrahimovic, Wu Zedong, and Deng Kai for Chinese fans. As everyone knows, Ibrahimovic is a huge Tai Chi enthusiast. He believes it greatly helps his flexibility. His dreamlike footwork is inseparable from Tai Chi. 2-4. Sporting Lisbon tenaciously pulled one back. Trigger is 1 star, 6 arrows tactic is indeed effective. If Arsenal doesn't want to face so many attackers, they have to fight back. But the lead team's aggressive play itself gives the trailing team a counter-attack opportunity. This match has no tactics anymore. Sporting Lisbon has completely dragged Arsenal into an attacking vortex. Arsenal has no choice but to go toe-to-toe with Sporting Lisbon. Arsenal has 3 musketeers, their firepower is never weak. But Sporting Lisbon's 6-striker formation also includes Cristiano Ronaldo, a European bronze boot-level killer, making the final score truly unpredictable. Wang Jiangxiang was spitting with excitement. Meanwhile, the commentary section of Donkey Udi was also incredibly lively. Although it was only text-based commentary, it allowed fans to interact in real time. Holy crap! Wu is awesome. What Wu? That's Dong Jia. Wu Jesse Khan. Okay. This is the first Champions League assist by a Chinese player, right? So domineering. So fast. That little brat from Arsenal can't catch up with Wu Zedong at all. I heard the English media are very optimistic about Ashley Cole. He was called up to the England national team a year ago and played in the World Cup qualifiers. Based on his current performance this season, he's very likely to go to the Korea-Japan World Cup. Really? Someone this good can play in the World Cup? Really, he might be a key player for England's left-back position. Damn, what kind of world is this? To be fair, I think Ashley Cole's level is about the same as Wu Zedong's. But he's already in the national team. While Wu Zedong couldn't even make it into the national youth team for last year's World Youth Championship. Is our national youth team that good? I'm increasingly convinced that Wu Zedong and the others made the right decision to stay with Sporting Lisbon. Back then, the Wahoo team, with players like Gao Lin, Feng Xiaoding, Zheng Cheng, and Zhao Peng returning to China, were indeed quite strong for their age group, but Feng Xiaoding and the others were definitely a bit short of being a starter for the national youth team. But look at Wu Zedong, he even got an assist in the Champions League. That's a huge difference. Don't even mention Wu Zedong, those like Hao Junmin and Xiao Jiaoyi from Sporting Lisbon, I think they'd have no problem getting into the national team. National team. Dream on. They'd have a hard time getting into their provincial teams. They will have to spend money to bribe their way in. Just as the domestic fans were excitedly discussing this, another storm broke out on the field. In the 63rd minute, Wu Zedong, actively tracking back, took advantage of Bergkamp's distraction while dueling Deng Kai, and poked the ball away from behind, completing a steal. The Ice Prince was furious and lunged at Wu Zedong. Wu Zedong passed the ball across to Deng Kai, then sprinted forward again. The men of the grasslands have nothing but good stamina. Bang! But Deng Kai's pass was faster than Wu Zedong's run. The ball flew towards the right flank. There, Kaká, who had switched positions with Ronaldinho, suddenly darted to the right, creating space. Ashley Cole immediately moved to mark Kaká. Kaká passed the ball behind him and made a forward run without the ball. Wu Zedong came up from behind, received the ball, and cut inside. Cole, who had been following Kaká, was confused. The next moment, he decisively abandoned Kaká and went to defend Wu Zedong, who was cutting inside. Wu Zedong was overjoyed. This meant his passing skills wouldn't be tested. How awesome. Bang! Wu Zedong passed the ball forward. Kaká received the ball and crossed it directly. This time, Ibrahimovic, who had made an early run, ran to the near post, jumped slightly, and headed the ball on. Campbell and Keown double-teamed Drogba. In the end, Keown successfully headed the ball out of the penalty area. Bang! The ball shot back, straight into the net, before anyone could react. Goal. Ronaldinho scores a beautiful long-range shot. That's a super world-class goal. Arsenal's Bergkamp and Vieira each scored a world-class goal, and now Sporting Lisbon has finally paid back. Keown's clearance fell perfectly to Ronaldinho's feet, and his long-range shot was spot on. The positional switch between Ronaldinho and Kaká is unstoppable. The two players have completely different styles, making it difficult for the defenders marking them to adapt to the other. Arsenal's defense is short-handed, so they'll always leave gaps. Last time they left Wu Zedong and Ibrahimovic, this time they left Kaká and Ronaldinho. Who's next? 3-4. Sporting Lisbon seems to be creating a miracle. There's still a lot of time left in the game. Could Sporting Lisbon really catch up with Arsenal, who are leading by 3 goals? If that happens, today's match will definitely become an unforgettable moment in Champions League history, one that fans will remember forever. Will Arsenal make any adjustments? No. Wenger has long been criticized for his poor in-game management. He's overly reliant on tactics and has consistently been conservative and hesitant in making substitutions. If he had the courage of Ferguson, he would have won just as many titles. Facing a furious comeback from Sporting Lisbon, Arsenal remained unmoved. From Wenger's perspective, since it's an attacking game, and you've both scored 2, shouldn't it be our turn to score 1? Chapter 457 Hat-trick, Twonglio's top running back. You know, Wenger's thinking is actually quite scientific. It's like how Hollywood invested in directors before. They never invested in directors who failed. They only favored successful people with no history of failure. But the paradox is that the more successful someone is, the greater the probability of their next project failing. Because no one can never fail. Wenger passed through this initial stage, getting used to scoring and conceding goals. He was persistent in his tactics. This is the biggest difference between academics and practitioners. The former sees the latter's flexibility as a lack of confidence in their research. The latter sees the former's confidence in their research as inflexibility. In the 72nd minute, Wenger's confidence in his tactics was shattered. Duncan used the bamboo turn to break free from Bergkamp and Parler's double team, then launched a long pass to Drogba on the edge of the penalty area. Thanks to Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and Ibrahimovic pulling him away, Drogba was now in a relatively easy position. Keown rushed out to challenge Drogba, getting hands and feet on him, and the impact was quite significant. Bang! The ball flew over, and Drogba and Keown jumped up simultaneously to contest a header. The ball was eventually headed on by Drogba, but went wide and rolled out of bounds. Keown, who had stopped Drogba, also fell to the ground, clutching his ankle. Arsenal's team doctor immediately came onto the field. Slow-motion replays showed that Keown lost his balance in the air while challenging Drogba, twisting his ankle upon landing. This is a sensitive situation. Even without a serious injury, continuing the game is not recommended, as it could potentially escalate into a more serious problem. Wenger was forced to make a substitution. Kolo Touré replaced Keown. The camera then focused on Yaya Touré on the Sporting Lisbon bench. The Touré brothers had both come on, yet they missed each other perfectly. It all seemed like fate. But this forced substitution had a very good effect. In the 77th minute, Ashley Cole made a solo run down the left flank. In this pure speed duel, Deng Kai was completely out of the running. Fortunately, Sporting Lisbon had Zidane. This substitute, the Genghis Khan of Lisbon, was very willing to run and actively track back. Finally, thanks to his superior stamina and a bold anticipation, a flying tackle deflected Cole's cross out of bounds. Otherwise, Henry, who had found space in the penalty area, would likely have scored. In the stands of the Alvalade Stadium, fans applauded Zidane. But 10 seconds later, the stadium fell silent. Pires' corner kick was headed into the goal by Kolo Touré, who had come on as a substitute 5 minutes earlier. Sporting Lisbon's players had overlooked the older brother, who was much shorter than his younger brother. Kolo Touré showed the world why Arsenal had chosen him. The referee blew his whistle, disallowing the goal. Arsenal's players were immediately dissatisfied and surrounded the referee. But the referee insisted that he had already blew his whistle before the goal. Kolo Touré had committed an attacking foul, pushing Zidane before challenging for the header. Arsenal had no choice but to accept the result. The goal was disallowed. However, they stated they would appeal after the match. Similarly, Sporting Lisbon had previously stated they would appeal Ashley Cole's long-range goal. Both sides expressed various grievances against the decision. In the 81st minute, Duncan passed to Ronaldinho, who turned and dribbled past his opponent before delivering a clever lob pass. Cristiano Ronaldo attempted a difficult half-leg shot, but England goalkeeper Seaman displayed exceptional save skills, successfully clearing the ball. Kolo Touré, who was immediately close to the ball, had no concept of beautiful football and instinctively kicked the ball out of the penalty area. A long clearance. This wasn't Arsenal's preferred method. But the next moment, the few Arsenal fans erupted in excitement. The ball had flown past midfield, and Henry had overtaken Vidic, quickly closing in on it. One-on-one. Henry gets the ball. It's a one-on-one opportunity. Ronaldo misses. Arsenal immediately launches a counter-attack. Kolo Touré stumbles upon a high-quality counter-attack. This is what Sporting Lisbon, with its vulnerable defense, is bound to encounter. Now they can only pray that they're wearing Schmeichel's number 1 jersey today. Henry raises his foot, and gets past him. Henry gets past Schmeichel. A low shot finds the net. It's a perfect solo run. Henry. The Highbury speedster Henry just can't stop. He slides on his knees in celebration, because this is his 3rd goal of the game. Hat-trick. Henry completes his hat-trick. He completely destroyed this stadium today. He is the mastermind of this game. 5-3. Less than 10 minutes left. Arsenal have almost secured the victory. Sporting Lisbon has suffered this blow, and it's difficult for them to regain their momentum. And indeed, in the 83rd minute, Henry had another chance, almost completing a quadruple. Fortunately, Vidic successfully blocked Henry's shot. Sporting Lisbon's 1-star and 6 arrows tactic, while extremely powerful offensively, was completely undefended defensively. With only one player like Deng Kai, Simply avoiding turnovers and delivering passes was already a feat. What else could he possibly defend? In the 84th minute, Sporting Lisbon made a substitution, replacing the fatigued striker Ibrahimovic with a midfielder defender Virazo. Sporting Lisbon reverted to a 3-2-3-2 formation. Ronaldo, Drogba, Kaká, Ronaldinho, Wu Zedong, Virazo, Deng Kai, Pepe, Vidic, Barzagli, Schmeichel. However, if Wu Zedong moves back to right back, it becomes a 4-2-2-2. If Wu Zedong pushes forward to the right wing, it becomes a 3-2-2-3. This places high demands on Wu Zedong. Macon could do the same thing, but the subtle differences lie in Macon's better physique, ball control, dribbling, and crossing. Wu Zedong, on the other hand, is slightly faster. This small difference may seem insignificant, but sometimes it makes all the difference between a defender being able to keep up with you and not. Furthermore, Wu Zedong's forward runs are even more extreme. He has a habit of moving towards the penalty area because he originally played as a striker. The title of Tonglio No. 1 middle school's top running forward and Wahaho's top right winger isn't just empty boasting. 87th minute. Regular time was almost over. With the help of Veloso, Deng Kai was completely unleashed, fully committing himself to the attack. First, he played a 1-2 with Kaká in the middle to get past Parler, then another one with Ronaldinho on the left to get past Vieira. Facing Campbell rushing out to challenge, Deng Kai executed a Marseille's turn. Chapter 458 Asian Derby, the person who knows Brazilian players best. Although deflected by Campbell and staggered, Ronaldo maintained possession and, after a brief adjustment, swept the ball to his left. Ronaldo received the ball, flicked it inside, and cut inside, simple and brutal. Arsenal's right back, Lauren, shares a similar background with Wu Zedong, both initially playing as wingers before being converted into speed-oriented fullbacks. Their defense, well, sometimes less than ideal. Ronaldo's cut inside and flick of the ball went right through Lauren's legs. Taking advantage of Lauren's turn, Ronaldo surged past him and completed his cut inside. Kolo Touré, following Drogba's forward run to the left, blocked Ronaldo's shooting path. He laughed at that moment. Did Sporting Lisbon not rehearse this? Is Drogba's positioning really that bad? Leading Ronaldo into his shooting path, how can Ronaldo shoot? Everyone knows Ronaldo only knows how to shoot. Bang! Ronaldo's cross. The ball crossed a road recklessly inside Arsenal's penalty area. The entire penalty area was empty, letting the ball roll freely. Everyone was pulled away. Two flashes of green and white light appeared in the middle and at the far post. In the middle was Kaká. At the far post was Wu Zedong. Kaká stretched out his leg to poke the ball. Seaman went down and spread his hands, trying to expand his defensive area as much as possible. But the problem was the ball was too fast. Kaká couldn't reach it. Arsenal fans couldn't help but feel relieved. Ronaldo's pass was indeed terrible. That cross was too powerful. Did he think he was shooting? Bang! The ball flew into the Arsenal goal. At the same time as Kaká, Wu Zedong, who had made a shooting motion, slid in at the far post and scored. The ball flew over Seaman's left hand as he went down and into the goal. This sliding shot wasn't of high quality, but Seaman was completely unable to defend. After the sliding shot, Wu Zedong slid across the goal, flying over the post and out of play. Goal. In the CCTV Sports Channel studio, Wang Jiangxiang stood up and frantically pounded the table. The fans could only hear the banging noise. But Wang Jiangxiang believed that no fan sitting in front of the TV would complain about him. Because everyone was repeating the same actions as him. Wu Zedong. Wu Zedong scored. Champions League goal. This is the first goal scored by a Chinese player in the history of the Champions League. Deng Kai orchestrated, Ronaldo assisted, Wu Zedong scored a milestone goal. From this moment on, all other Chinese players fighting overseas have become followers. They must take Wu Zedong's record as their goal, strive to play in the Champions League as soon as possible, and show the strength of Chinese players as soon as possible. 4-5. Kaká immediately snatched the ball out of the goal. Deng Kai is calling on all his teammates to quickly return to their own half and kick off as soon as possible. Sporting Lisbon still has a chance. They are unwilling to accept a 4-5 defeat. This team never gives up. They are very tenacious. It is this spirit that supported them during the difficult winter break, creating a 12-game unbeaten run in all competitions. They are unwilling to be ended by Arsenal. At least not by Arsenal in this game. In front of the TV, All the Chinese fans felt very regretful. If this were a goal that would win the game, or even equalize, everyone could celebrate wildly. But unfortunately, the team was still trailing. So such a significant goal didn't even allow for a single second of celebration. It's like many hard-working Chinese people who struggle their whole lives but rarely have the time or opportunity to stop and rest. If possible, everyone should really stop, take a walk, and read a football novel by a chubby peach. However, Wenger abandoned the dignity of the academic school at this moment. He actually started making substitutions. Was he just wasting time? The Arsenal professor, resorting to such underhanded tactics that only Ferguson would use? The Alvalade Stadium fans were furious. They started spewing profanities. Wenger could only alleviate his embarrassment by keeping his hands in his pockets, or rather, searching for them. Japanese player Junichi Inamoto replaced Parler, staging the Asian derby that Asian fans had been particularly interested in before the match. Parler even deliberately walked slowly until the referee blew his whistle to warn him before leaving the field. Junichi Inamoto also walked in slowly. Beside him, Wiltord, the only one of the three musketeers not on the starting lineup, was also waiting. He was expected to come on as a substitute in a minute or two. Whether he played or not wasn't important, just running down the clock was enough. Wenger was truly putting what he'd learned from Ferguson to the fullest. At this rate, Arsenal's dominance this season was just around the corner. Highbrow football rarely wins championships. Every king's biography records their achievements, but only unofficial histories tell the reasons why they became kings. On the sidelines, the fourth official held up his board. The match had a full 7 minutes of added time. This was mainly due to the large number of goals. Wenger thought the time was too long and kept complaining, eventually receiving a yellow card. He disliked added time because Ferguson was incredibly strong during that period. With that time, Ferguson could win a draw or draw a loss. If the Premier League didn't have added time, Arsenal, not Manchester United, would have won 3 consecutive Premier League titles. The 91st minute. Boos rose again from the stadium. Arsenal substituted Wiltord for Bergkamp. Bergkamp was equally slow. An impatient Veloso approached Bergkamp to chase him away, and the two argued. Duncan pulled Veloso back, because this was exactly the effect Bergkamp wanted. Continuing to argue like this would only waste Sporting Lisbon's time. In the 94th minute, Arsenal showed Sporting Lisbon that wasting time might be for their own good. Henry dribbled and passed the ball, successfully creating an opportunity. If Schmeichel hadn't rushed out early enough to catch the ball before Wiltord, Sporting Lisbon might have conceded another goal. Schmeichel immediately launched a counter-attack, but his long pass was intercepted by Vieira. After that, possession changed hands frequently, with neither side giving the other any chance. In the 96th minute, with the game seemingly nearing its end, Veloso seized the opportunity to tackle Ljungberg. Ljungberg knelt down to protest, but the referee ruled that Veloso's defense was not in question. Veloso passed back to Pepe. Pepe's long pass found Kaká, who had dropped back to the defensive midfield position. Kaká tapped the ball and accelerated, attempting to dribble forward. Substitute Inamoto Junichi, beaming with delight, rushed towards Kaká. Kaká had played the entire match, while Inamoto Junichi had only been on the pitch for 5 or 6 minutes. With his superior stamina, defending against Kaká would be a piece of cake. If anyone in the world understands Brazilian football best, besides the Brazilians, it's undoubtedly the Japanese. For a long time, the Japanese have considered Brazilian football a model for study and research. The famous anime Captain Tsubasa even describes Brazil as a dreamland. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 459. Henry and I are evenly matched. So, while Inamoto Junichi's ability to defend against others is questionable, he's perfectly suited to defending against Kaká from Brazil. Marseille's turn, croquet, calfskin dribble, rainbow flick, bicycle kick. Inamoto Junichi was fully prepared, and then, bang! A whirlwind swept past him. He froze, the Brazilian already gone. Kaká had only needed a gust of wind to get past him. A second longer would have been disrespectful. Oh! In the stands, the Sporting Lisbon fans began to chant. Kaká's lightning-fast dribbling ignited the hopes of all the fans. Vieira has found his position. He's charging towards Kaká, but he's holding back. What will Kaká do? Pass. Kaká plays a through ball down the left. Lauren has come out to defend. This time, he won't give Ronaldo time to handle the ball. Cross pass. Ronaldo makes a first-time cross. But Drogba hasn't rushed up yet. Only Deng Kai is in the penalty area. Zidane on the right can't provide effective support. Kolo Touré is marking Deng Kai, but he's hesitant to exert force, lest Deng Kai draw a penalty. Campbell has blocked Deng Kai's passing route to Zidane and Ronaldinho. Vieira is back too. He's caught up with Drogba. After Deng Kai passes back to Drogba, Drogba can't shoot directly. What will Deng Kai do? Will he feint and control the ball, waiting for his teammates to create a new opportunity? Bang! Just as Wang Jiangxiang and He Wei had a million guesses in their minds, Deng Kai, facing Kolo Touré and the goal on the left side of the penalty area, shifted his position. The ball went from behind Deng Kai to his left. Kolo Touré instinctively stretched out his foot to hook the uncontrolled football. But Deng Kai's right foot circled around his left from behind, gently poking the ball. The ball accelerated instantly, passing between Kolo Touré's legs. A first-time, free kick Rabona. The ball rolled straight towards the far corner of the goal. Not fast, but incredibly stealthy. It wasn't until the ball had rolled past that Seaman realized that white thing that had just floated across the ground was a football. So gentle. The ball rolled into the far corner of the goal, barely managing to clear the net and cause any ripples. But at that moment, the entire city of Lisbon erupted in a deafening roar of cheers. Goal! Goal! My God! Goal! Deng Kai scored. In the final moments, it's a last-minute equalizer. 5-5. Sporting Lisbon has finally equalized after trailing by as many as 3 goals. No time left. This is the final score. A Rabona. Can you believe this was Deng Kai's choice in the last minute when his team was behind? He was facing the mighty Arsenal. What kind of big heart does it take to score such a brilliant goal in this situation? Deng Kai. Deng Kai sprinted towards the corner flag, gesturing for all the fans to join him in celebrating. He leaped high. All of Deng Kai's fans, let's count together, 1, 2, 3. Sinuulu. The Alvalade Stadium was a scene of overwhelming celebration. Sporting Lisbon fans went wild. The players in their green and white jerseys all rushed towards Deng Kai. Wang Jiangxiang in the broadcast booth was even more excited than when Zidane scored. After all, Zidane was a Chinese player. But Deng Kai is also a Chinese player. Deng Kai. Deng Kai responded to Henry with a goal. This is a duel between 2 top 10 Ballon d'Or and FIFA World Player of the Year winners. Although Henry completed a hat-trick, Deng Kai's core role for Sporting Lisbon is no less important than Henry's for Arsenal. Statistics, on-field performance, team score, considering everything, Deng Kai and Henry are evenly matched. Previously, some South Korean and Japanese media questioned Deng Kai's ranking in the 2 major awards, believing he didn't deserve them. Then they should interview Wenger and Arsenal to see if Deng Kai truly deserves them. Okay, Arsenal players complained that Sporting Lisbon players spent too much time celebrating. Now Wenger's biggest regret must be why he wasted so much time on substitutions. Otherwise, they might have been able to catch up. Okay, the game restarts. 3 whistles. The referee ends the match. 5-5. Sporting Lisbon withstood the barrage of attacks from the English Gunners. Arsenal has to accept that 3 points have become 1. Even Arsenal, currently top of the Premier League table, doesn't have a single point more than Sporting Lisbon. Both teams have 4 points in their group. The Man of the Match award went to Henry, but I believe many knowledgeable football fans consider Deng Kai to be the best player. Sporting Lisbon's 1-star, 6 arrows tactic, in its debut, managed a draw against Arsenal. This move might bring even greater surprises to fans in the future. Thank you for watching. That concludes today's match. Please stay tuned for the broadcast of the Chinese Goat tournament. Taking off his headphones, Wang Jiangxiang looked towards the door. The station leaders had been there for a while. Wang Jiangxiang thought he was probably going to get a scolding again, and his salary would be docked. The intern commentator He Wei, standing beside him, used Wang Jiangxiang as a negative example, determined never to be as out of control or subjective as him. It made CCTV5 seem like Sporting Lisbon's mouthpiece. What kind of behavior was that? What's your name? The leader asked, pointing at He Wei. Hiwei's heart leaped with joy. Could this be his chance for a permanent position? Boss, my name is Hiwei, I'm the new football commentator at the station, today. Before Hiwei could finish, the boss said to his secretary behind him, I've said it many times, the World Cup is just around the corner, the quality of the commentators must be strictly controlled. How can you cram all sorts of random people into football commentary? Look at him, can he commentate well? He had no reaction at all. When Sporting Lisbon drew, his face looked like he'd eaten shit. Several leaders called me saying this person's stance is unfair. Where am I supposed to put my old face? Replace him. If I could fire him, I really would. Move him to a less popular segment. What program has the lowest ratings right now? Wang Jiangxiang slightly distanced himself from Hiwei. Basketball. The boss nodded. Replace him to commentate on basketball. At least don't let me see him appear on any football-related program before the World Cup. Chapter 460 I can sit because someone is standing behind me. The leader stormed off. Hiwei was dumbfounded. This means I'm wrong for being impartial? No, how was I being subjective? Wang Jiangxiang shook his head at Hiwei, who was still somewhat unconvinced and aggrieved. Little he, sometimes being impartial is itself a stance. Objectivity is sometimes another form of subjectivity. The family is the smallest unit of the nation, and the nation is made up of millions of families. When most people lack national self-confidence, is it really right to objectively say that the West is better? They've been well-fed and clothed for over 100 years, and we, the nation that should be developing, are playing along with them. Is that right? They've polluted the world for centuries, built everything that needed building, and then turn around and talk to us about environmental protection. Is that reasonable? Their advancement and development certainly have the contributions of outstanding individuals within their communities. But what truly sustains most of them is the wealth they've plundered from us over the past 100 years. Do you know why I stood up when Wu Zedong and Deng Kai scored? Because our football is insignificant on a global scale. If I didn't stand up, no one would see us. Looking at Hiwei's indignant back, Wang Jiangxiang knew his words hadn't been heeded. But what he didn't know was that 21 years later, at the UN Security Council, when a certain country attempted to use the guise of a moment of silence to gain illegitimate benefits and coerce other representatives to stand, the Chinese representative remained calm and composed in his seat, becoming a pillar of strength for a large group of bewildered allies. At that time, the strength of the nation allowed the Chinese to sit firmly and steadily anywhere. The center-forward representative said, I can sit because someone is standing behind me. That is my strongest support, my home and my country. The most exciting super match in Champions League group stage history. Sporting Lisbon draws 5-5 with Arsenal. Henry's hat-trick earns him man of the match, but he can only take away a consolation point from Lisbon. Who says Ronaldo's passing is bad? 2 assists and a last-minute equalizer show his skill. Lisbon's Genghis Khan comes off the bench and completes a goal and an assist, becoming the first Chinese player to score a goal and provide an assist in a Champions League match. How strong is Kaká, the green and white lightning? He orchestrated a last-minute equalizer against Japan in 0.86 seconds. Brazilian geniuses world-class goal rivals Bergkamp's, with all stats surpassing Bergkamp's. Speed and passion. Cole, Lauren, Henry, Kaká, Ronaldo, and Wu Zedong, 6 players in this match reached speeds exceeding 36 km per hour. Swedish prodigy scores twice, a strong response to Wenger's initial trial demands. Wenger, pockets agape in frustration, frankly admits after the match he doesn't understand Sporting Lisbon's 1-star, 6 arrows tactic. After the match, news about this game instantly overshadowed all other matches played at the same time. No one could have predicted such an intense game. 10 goals in total, a maximum margin of 3 goals, 2 goals in the final 10 minutes, and a last-minute equalizer. Each one was a major highlight. Arsenal players gave Sporting Lisbon high praise after the match, as the latter had indeed instilled fear in them at times. Henry. I firmly believe my goal will bring the team victory, I have no doubt about that. But my intuition tells me that if there's still a lot of time left in the game, Sporting Lisbon might be able to score again. Bergkamp. The madness of these young guys is beyond my imagination. After Cruyff, people say the Dutch are good at flying. But I think Cruyff also gave the ability to fly to his favorite Duncan, and Duncan led the whole team to fly. Ashley Cole, I don't think there's anything wrong with my goal. In the next leg, I will defend against that Chinese guy. He's not faster than me. Absolutely not. Lauren, Ronaldo is really hard to defend. His attacking acumen is too high, and his positioning is extremely threatening. These are things that are hard for anyone other than the player himself to perceive. If I could, I would rather switch sides with Ashley Cole. Vieira seemed a little downcast. Duncan's contribution to Sporting Lisbon is undoubtedly huge. As a fellow midfielder, I regret that I couldn't do more for the team. Vieira's words also implied that he didn't have as much authority in the team as Duncan. As an all-around player, Vieira could actually shoulder more responsibility. Wenger also stated in a post-match interview, Sporting Lisbon is a very resilient team with a lot of imagination. Luck was on their side today, we missed at least 3 scoring opportunities. Similarly, Duncan expressed envy for Arsenal's good fortune after the match. Cole's goal was obviously questionable. I'd rather consider the point Arsenal took from Sporting Lisbon today as stolen. Of course, I don't mean any disrespect to Arsenal, I'm just stating the facts. Henry's performance was phenomenal, we couldn't contain him. I sensed something in him similar to Ronaldo, something unique to super strikers. Watching Bergkamp play is a pleasure, like watching Ibrahimovic play. Don't you think their dribbling is exceptionally elegant? Our defense performed brilliantly today. Although they conceded 5 goals, they shouldered far more responsibility than Arsenal's defense, which also conceded 5. I couldn't be more satisfied with our backline. The reporter almost rolled his eyes. Yes, your players are all great, they all have some similarities to Arsenal stars. This is just marketing hype. Reporter, Wenger expressed dissatisfaction with some aspects of the match, such as the excessive stoppage time. He said he saw Manchester United's shadow in the match against Sporting Lisbon. What do you think of Wenger's dissatisfaction? Deng Kai laughed. Manchester United is one of the most successful teams in the world right now, and many people are learning from them. It's not surprising that we have Manchester United's shadow. After all, we have Schmeichel, a true Red Devils. But I also see Manchester United's shadow in Arsenal, which is perhaps interesting. Arsenal's substitutions in the final moments, aren't they exactly the same substitution methods they previously criticized Ferguson for? Reporter, so, you mean Arsenal is inferior to Manchester United? Because they are also secretly learning from Manchester United? Deng Kai shook his head, quite the opposite. Arsenal, by learning from Manchester United, has filled their last gap, therefore I think Arsenal will achieve great things in the league this season. Chapter 461 The strongest person is about to enter the formation. If I had to choose one Premier League team to break Manchester United's three-peat in the Premier League this year, I think it would be Arsenal. The reporter hadn't expected Deng Kai to have such a high opinion of Arsenal, and for a moment, it was difficult to find a more pointed topic. Instead, a reporter who is clearly Asian interviewed Deng Kai. What's your assessment of Inamoto Junichi's performance in this match? Deng Kai was taken aback. Huh? Did they even have that player on the field? The Japanese reporter's face lit up. In fact, Deng Kai certainly knew Inamoto Junichi. He had deliberately delayed the game when he was substituted on in the final moments. Deng Kai was used to sticking to the facts. During the match, he rationally didn't hold it against Arsenal. But after the match, he could certainly use that as an opportunity to express their dissatisfaction. Similarly, he allowed Arsenal to criticize their team through the media when they engaged in time-wasting tactics. He was never one to apply double standards. However, he wouldn't use time-wasting tactics and then allow the opponent to equalize. You were given a chance but didn't seize it, so you can't blame others for criticizing you after the game. You broke down mentally, right? Wenger? Wenger quickly walked away from Deng Kai, repeatedly cursing under his breath. He had originally planned to explain Arsenal's offer to Deng Kai. He had said, Ronaldo and Deng Kai, 20 million each, preferably a package deal, 1 + 1 is greater than 2, but the boss misunderstood, insisting it was a 20 million package deal, which cut out too many key words. Sigh, maybe it's fate. But it doesn't matter, the strongest player is already in the squad. The Barcelona youth team's midfield core is no less than Deng Kai in any aspect, even stronger. Since they're already planning to buy Deng Kai, this 1985 prodigy, to gamble, why not go all the way and buy an even younger but more promising lottery ticket, 1987 versus 1985, 1.78 meters versus 1.78 meters 76 kilograms versus 68 kilograms. Barcelona Youth Academy versus Sporting Lisbon Youth Academy. Spaniard versus Asian. Middle-class family versus ordinary family. Fam family versus farmer family. 2 or 3 million euros versus 20 or 30 million euros. Francesco Fabregas Solar versus Duncan. The former is the better choice in every aspect, isn't he? This is Wenger's economical choice. Of course, there's another reason for Wenger's bad mood, which is, for Arsenal, aiming for the Champions League quarter-finals, after 3 rounds, the score is still only 4 points, without establishing a clear advantage, which is itself a failure. The Japanese reporter, somewhat unwilling to accept Duncan's disregard for Inamoto Junichi, continued to press, "Duncan-san, you're joking, why don't you think about it again?" Duncan suddenly realized, "Oh, you mean Inamoto Junichi, the one?" The Japanese reporter beamed, listening attentively. "Duncan, the Arsenal substitute midfielder who was beaten by Kaká in less than a second?" The Japanese reporter died. Record, Juventus and Barcelona draw 0-0, Group C becomes the most competitive group. All 4 teams have 4 points, making it difficult to determine a winner. Bora, Sporting Lisbon is 4th in the group, Champions League exit is only a matter of time. Porto wins 1-0, just 1 step away from the UEFA Cup quarter-finals. Sky Sports, Portugal's youthful Storm refuses to lose, Sporting Lisbon draws with Arsenal, extending their unbeaten run to 13 games. The Times, Juventus, Arsenal, and Sporting Lisbon are all strong contenders for their domestic league titles, possessing considerable strength and a higher chance of qualifying for European competitions. Barcelona is likely to miss out on the La Liga title this season, proving their poor form, making them more likely to be eliminated from European competitions. Kicker, Henry tops the Champions League scoring charts with 8 goals. Ronaldo and Van Nistelrooy tied for second place with 7 goals each. The Sun, important information revealed behind the 1-star, 6 arrows maneuver. Deng Kai is a master gunman, capable of controlling 6 targets simultaneously. Hathaway's selfishness is a waste. It's time for the English Roses to bring Deng Kai to the Premier League. Foreign media were abuzz. Domestic media and fans on Deng Kai, a Chinese sports website, were also jubilant. Fans were raving about Deng Kai. Next was Wu Jisihan, a famous Chinese football player. Then came Kaká, who had utterly thrashed the Japanese. However, a newly registered account named Kai Liaoba became one of the few Kai haters on Deng Kai, a Chinese sports betting platform. Henry's hat-trick doesn't count as a win, so Kai should get the highest score for his assist and goal, right? Then why didn't Kai get the Man of the Match award? Luckily, the Champions League ratings staff know their stuff. Ronaldo's 2 assists were clearly too long. Kaká dribbled past Inamoto Junichi, who was too careless. Ronaldinho's world-class goal is nowhere near Bergkamp's level. Ibrahimovic is too arrogant. He has some skill, that's true, but at such a young age, daring to mock Wenger, his career won't reach much heights. Wu Zedong's speed is undeniable, but Macon could do the same. The Wu Jisihan you're all hyping up is just a substitute in the eyes of European fans, just self-indulgence. 1 star and 6 arrows is a ridiculous tactic, it's just random play. What did Deng Kai do besides long balls forward? His teammates scored to close the gap, and now it's all he's doing as the commander, haha. Sporting Lisbon's equalizer was largely due to luck. Arsenal had a third more threatening attacks than Sporting Lisbon, that's a true test of strength. That Rabona was just irresponsible showing off. If he had missed, let's see how Deng Kai would have shifted the blame. With that kind of attitude, he doesn't deserve to play professional football. This old Kai scoundrel, centered around Deng Kai, didn't miss any opportunity to criticize any player close to him. He would post his opinion and then immediately log off, never engaging in online arguments, seemingly ignoring the comments. Many online users said that if they could find out who this old Kai scoundrel was, they would definitely teach him a lesson. There were even skilled hackers who tried to trace old Kai scoundrel's IP address, almost getting themselves arrested in the process. The address showed it was the CCTV broadcasting building. Who could this be? Ziohi, the match is about to start, are the materials ready? Zhang Weiping walked into the studio. He hurriedly closed his laptop, flustered, Teacher Zhang, I'm all set. I still have a lot of questions to ask you, especially about the Princeton system. What exactly does it mean? I feel it's a bit too complex. Zhang Weiping smiled. Hey, you've hit the nail on the head. You interned in football commentary before, right? Let me put it this way. The Princeton system is actually similar to Sporting Lisbon's 1-star, 6 arrows strategy. You need an absolute core player, which is Deng Kai. Chapter 462. The English Rose comes to demand justice. After the explanation, Zhang Weiping's opinion of He Wei plummeted. This kid asked for advice but didn't listen attentively, acting completely dismissive. No wonder he got kicked out of the other side. By the way, He Weiping, you worked with Wang before, right? Do you have his phone number? That's perfect. Give me his number later. I'll ask him to ask the boss if I can be transferred to the football team. The NBA is so unpopular, nobody watches it. He Wei, Ling. You have obtained the Bergkamp's ballet certificate dropped by a star player. Bergkamp's ballet certificate. There are many ways to control the ball, but only one way to control it gracefully. Bergkamp's ball control puts ballerinas to shame, as if he possesses a professional level certificate. Ball control +3, dribbling +2. Your first time shot ability has been enhanced. When you receive the ball's rebound force is reduced, and the rebound distance is shortened by 20 centimeters. Perfect ball control can be achieved within 20 centimeters. Arsenal is generous. Bergkamp has earned Duncan's respect. From now on, this Dutchman who can't fly is Duncan's loyal follower. After all, ball control can be considered Bergkamp's signature skill. This guy is truly straightforward. What's the strongest part of this dropped certificate? Perfect ball control within 20 centimeters. What is perfect ball control? Marcelo's instep absorbing the ball is an example. With a Bergkamp's ballet certificate, Deng Kai can control the ball so effectively that its bounce, which would normally be less than 20 centimeters, is reduced to less than 1 centimeter. At that moment, the laws of physics seem to disappear beneath his feet. This opens up countless possibilities for his passing and dribbling. With Sporting Lisbon's one-star, 6 arrows tactic shining brightly in this match, more and more teams will notice Deng Kai's quick passing and shooting. Ordinary teams might not be able to counter him, even if they do. But teams still competing in the Champions League can target Deng Kai, both tactically and in terms of player ability. Deng Kai's first-time passing isn't as powerful as it appears. Firstly, there's the issue of passing accuracy, which has improved with the arrival of skills like tackling and passing-enhancing techniques. Secondly, there's the issue of excessive ball speed, which is unsolvable, but can be mastered by skilled forwards. Thirdly, the first-time passing itself is the optimal solution based on Deng Kai's insufficient ball control fundamentals. Now that his ball control is excellent, integrating dribbling, passing, and control, his signature move is no longer just super fast passing and shooting. It's now a combination of super fast passing and shooting, volleying, and continuous control and dribbling. Perfect ball control enhances the first two aspects and is the most important prerequisite for the third. Beep beep beep. Deng Kai's phone rang. He looked and saw it was Beckham calling. Hello, Beckham, Deng Kai said, turning on speakerphone. Hey, Zio Kai, aren't you being a little unfair? I was hoping for a fourth consecutive Premier League title to win awards, and you said Arsenal could beat us? You've disappointed the Red Devils. Beckham cut to the chase. You misheard. It wasn't Deng Kai who said that, it was Ian Kiangxi, Deng Kai refused to admit. What double happiness? Beckham said seriously. Kai, take this seriously. Sir Alex asked me to call and ask you. Deng Kai cleared his throat. No need for thanks. Just send me a few autographed Van Nistelrooy footballs when you have time. Given my relationship with Ronaldo, it's not convenient for me to ask Van Nistelrooy for autographs, you know. Beckham was full of questions. What? We have to thank you? Deng Kai said, yes. I've given you the correct answers. It's an open book exam, you know? If you still can't beat Arsenal after this, then losing the league title really isn't my fault. Is there anything else? If not, I'll hang up now. I have to go see Hathaway off to her new team. Beckham got excited about this. You brought up Hathaway yourself, Kai? You and Hathaway really didn't act fairly. Kira had already almost finalized things with Jerry Bruckheimer and Gore Verbinski. Beckham was speaking up for his good friend Keira Knightley. Keira Knightley, born in March 1985, is 5 months older than Kent. Her father, Will Knightley, is an actor, and her mother, Samantha MacDonald, is a playwright. Influenced by this, she entered the British entertainment industry early, making her film debut in 1995 with Country Love. In 1999, she played Sabe, Queen Amidala's Devil, in the science fiction action film Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. On December 13, 2001, The suspense thriller Ghost Place, co-starring Thora Birch and Albert Davis, was released. She is considered by some fans to be the future British Rose. Late last year and earlier this year, she co-starred with Parmine Nagra in the romantic action film I Love Beckham, which is expected to be released in a month. Therefore, Beckham is speaking up for Kira, because Hathaway allegedly snatched Kira's film role. Deng Kai just mentioned sending Hathaway to the cast of Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, which he snatched from Keira Knightley, making her a lead actress alongside Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom, who played the Elven Prince in last year's The Lord of the Rings and previously worked with Hathaway, is supportive of her joining the cast. Although Orlando Bloom has no say in casting, the gimmick of the Elven siblings reuniting on a pirate ship is clearly more newsworthy than Beckham's cheerleading female fans. The Lord of the Rings created a sensation in the Western world last year, rivaling Harry Potter and becoming the biggest winner. In North America alone, The Lord of the Rings grossed $320 million, surpassing Harry Potter to become the highest-grossing film there. However, globally, The Lord of the Rings grossed $890 million, slightly less than Harry Potter's $974 million, placing it second in the global box office. Everyone agrees that Hathaway's box office influence was a major reason why The Lord of the Rings topped the North American box office. This is even clearer when considering global box office figures. This is also why Pirates of the Caribbean ultimately chose Hathaway over Keira Knightley. However, no matter how objectively one presents the situation, Keira Knightley's side will find it difficult to swallow this insult. At the very least, they will feel wronged. Deng Kai is well aware of this, and if he can help Hathaway resolve this conflict, he is willing to make some efforts. With fame comes controversy. Many popular stars suddenly suffer a decline in reputation because they inadvertently offend others in their handling of situations. Chapter 463 Deng Kai misses out on the Portuguese team. The fault doesn't lie with them, a lot of lies won't hurt. But the important thing in life is to have a clear conscience. Do what you can. Deng Kai, from Kayla's perspective, we really made a mistake. I'm willing to apologize to Kayla on Hathaway's behalf. How about this, in the summer, you help organize a gathering and invite Kayla along, and I'll apologize in person. Never mind. Why am I talking to you? I'll contact your wife directly about this. You probably don't have the mind for anything other than football lately, so it's useless to talk to you. Manchester United's current situation isn't great, the pressure of the matches is immense. They're out of the FA Cup, third in the Premier League, and in the second group stage of the Champions League. Especially in the Premier League, catching up is really difficult, so Beckham naturally doesn't have the mind for anything else. That I Love Beckham movie has already taken up a lot of his time. Beckham was pleased with Deng Kai's attitude. No wonder Sir Alex always praises you, you always handle things so well. Okay, that's all then, see you later. Wait, you know I'm a fan of yours, so could you send me a few boxes of autographed footballs? Before Deng Kai could finish speaking, Beckham hung up the phone. The heartthrob has become cunning. He knows too many autographs can damage his commercial value. It seems everyone knows Guardiola's tragic story. Deng Kai's exchange with Beckham was generally sincere. But there was one thing he didn't dare say to Beckham. That is, rather than saying Arsenal has the best chance to end Manchester United's four-peat in the Premier League, it's more accurate to say that this open question was presented to Liverpool. Because this year, Liverpool is more competitive in the league than Manchester United. Simeo, whom Liverpool snatched from Barcelona last summer, is quite useful. The only drawback might be a few injuries, resulting in limited appearances so far. Liverpool fans believe that if Simeo fully adapts to the pace of the Premier League, he could very well become the next Michael Owen. He's poised to become the next super talent to carry Liverpool forward. Simeo's transfer fee has also rebounded from €5 million to €15 million. At this rate, it's not difficult for his value to break €20 million next season, and it might even reach €30 million. In addition, Liverpool has also loaned centre-back Gilchamp from Ajax. The Portuguese player has performed exceptionally well for Liverpool, and the club is keen to make his move permanent at the end of the season. Liverpool fans discovered that Gilchamp has a connection to Duncan and Cristiano Ronaldo, who defeated them in last year's UEFA Cup. The three previously played together for half a season at Moreirense in the Portuguese second division, leading them to a double of the Portuguese League and the Portuguese Cup. Suddenly, Liverpool showed great interest in and appreciation for players from Portugal. Players from the Portuguese league have become synonymous with reliability in the Premier League. Tottenham Hotspur are keen on Porto striker Postiga. Manchester United are eyeing Sporting Lisbon star striker Cristiano Ronaldo. Arsenal, after being tied by Sporting Lisbon, also praised Drogba and Ronaldinho. A youthful storm belonging to Portugal is sweeping across the British Isles. However, Deng Kai is unsure whether Liverpool will even notice the exam paper with its answers published. Or, if they do notice it, will they be able to defeat the near-perfect unbeaten team from Wenger's first term? Manchester, England. You saw it too, his attitude was incredibly good. Except for the fact that he asked for an autographed football in a box, not a unit. I didn't even have the chance to scold him, Beckham said, pouring water for the young lady next to him. But if he knew that Deng Kai's box was a shipping container, would he still say a single good word for Deng Kai? Beckham, besides, as an actor, it's normal for someone else to take your script. Besides, you don't lack scripts. Don't worry about such a small thing, Kira. You'll be a big star sooner or later. Victoria chimed in, that's right, Kira, don't be angry. Little Kira is actually a very nice guy. At worst, we'll rip him off this summer and have him charter a yacht to take us out to sea. Goodness. It turns out Beckham made this call in front of Kira. Beckham really values his female friends, he's quite adept at betraying his male friends. If Deng Kai knew about this, he'd probably give Beckham a good beating. Can women really know about conversations between men? Kayla nodded, seemingly calmed down. Actually, her main reason for agreeing to star in Pirates of the Caribbean was to expand her box office influence and become a star with both artistic and commercial value, like Hathaway, who earned both money and fame. And Kayla felt she was capable of doing it well. Now that Pirates of the Caribbean is gone, she has to find new commercial films, which is giving her a headache. She complained about this while chatting with the Beckhams, without blaming Deng Kai. It was just a casual venting with a friend. Unexpectedly, Victoria took it very seriously and immediately had Beckham call, giving Kayla a very good impression. Seeing that Kira was in a much better mood, Victoria asked, but David, will Kira have time to go sailing with us this summer? Kira replied, of course he'll have time. Players need to rest in the summer, right? Wait, you mean the World Cup? Victoria nodded. He's 10th in both the FIFA World Player of the Year and the Ballon d'Or. Rui Costa didn't achieve that. The Portuguese Football Federation can't possibly not call him up. Beckham shook his head, the chances are slim. Football is more than just football. The timing of Kira's appearance is wrong. This is a World Cup year, and the World Cup is only 5 months away. As players, it's impossible not to discuss these things. Ferguson had analyzed this with some of the players during training. There are 3 difficulties for Kira to be called up this year. The first is historical reasons. The second involves Portugal's naturalization of foreign players. Football is just a starting point. Once it opens up, other fields will follow suit, and then it will be unstoppable. Kira is not a foreign player, but his inclusion will affect the purity of the Portuguese national team at this stage, easily giving the naturalization faction an excuse. The third is the opposition from other players within the Portuguese national team. It's subtle, but those who play football can sense it. Portugal's golden generation currently doesn't welcome any other new players, including pure Portuguese kids. Oh no. My brother's house is being renovated, and he's been staying with me lately. Then yesterday he got the flu and has a high fever. This afternoon, Peach and Cicada also started feeling unwell, dizzy and with headaches. I really can't get sick, because if I get a fever, I won't be able to write at all. Please help me. Chapter 464. A wave of injuries and illnesses? Why is this happening? Because the current Portuguese team is a golden generation led by Figo and Rui Costa. They won the FIFA U20 World Cup in 1989 and 1991, and reached the semi-finals of the 2000 European Championship. This year is their best chance to achieve their best result in the World Cup. The team is complete, the tactics are mature, the players have great chemistry, and they are just one step away from making history. If you were in their shoes, would you let some random newcomer come in and steal the spotlight? Even if you're not afraid of losing the spotlight, the addition of any newcomer at this moment could disrupt their chemistry and bring unpredictable consequences. Moreover, to put it bluntly, even Ronaldo could be selected, but Duncan has no chance. Ronaldo, is that hard to say? Why? Because Duncan is the core of the team. And even if he is better than Rui Costa and Figo, the Portuguese team cannot make him the core of the team at this stage. The problem of team cohesion is not something that can be solved by strength alone, it takes time. Besides, Duncan is not better than Rui Costa at this stage. Not to mention Figo. Perhaps Deng Kai's achievements last year far surpassed Rui Costa's, but look at Rui Costa's teammates, and then look at Deng Kai's teammates. While outsiders may not understand the prestige of Ronaldo, Drogba, Ibrahimovic, Pepe, Terry, Barzagli, etc., does Deng Kai himself not know? Of these three reasons, the first two are merely the last two straws that broke the camel's back. The last one is the real reason. You can't say Figo and Deng Kai have a bad relationship, it's just that, Deng Kai, you're only a full-back, and Figo still reluctantly puts you in the starting lineup. Look at Ronaldo, but you're a core player. A super core player at that. Ronaldo? Ronaldo, you're the full-back. I'm Yankeeanxi, oops. I'm a striker. After listening to Beckham's analysis, Victoria clapped her hands and praised, great. Then our summer sea trip plan is no problem. Beckham was puzzled, but I have to play in the World Cup, how will you go then? Victoria, you play your World Cup, we'll go see with Deng Kai, what's wrong with that? Beckham felt something was off, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. February 22nd, Portuguese Super League Round 24. Sporting Lisbon, riding high on their draw against Arsenal, thrashed Guimarães 4-0. February 27th, Champions League Second Stage Round 4. Barcelona defeated Juventus 2-0, maintaining their advantage with 1 win and 1 draw in their 2 encounters with Juventus. They also topped their group with 7 points. On the other hand, Arsenal thrashed Sporting Lisbon 4-1 at home. For Sporting Lisbon fans, this seemed hard to accept. But for outsiders, this was the normal situation. Sporting Lisbon's explosive performance and draw against Arsenal once is acceptable, but you can't keep drawing against Arsenal. That's the top of the Premier League table. The Portuguese League and the Premier League are not even in the same league. Arsenal also finished second in the group with 7 points, with Barcelona having a head-to-head advantage and slightly ahead of Arsenal. However, Sporting Lisbon didn't agree with the outside assessment. They felt they could have given Arsenal another good match. But Schmeichel was injured early. Reina came on as a substitute and delivered a disastrous performance, showing Seaman his butterfingers. Demonstrating what it means to be outmaneuvered by the younger generation. As a result, Sporting Lisbon's 14-match unbeaten run across all competitions was finally ended by Arsenal. The English media felt triumphant and reported the result extensively, as if Arsenal had won the Champions League after defeating Sporting Lisbon. They desperately wanted to see Deng Kai's disappointed expression after the match. But all they managed to capture was a photo of Deng Kai taking Hathaway to the set of Pirates of the Caribbean. In desperation, they misplaced the photo of Deng Kai giving Hathaway a gift in their news coverage of the Arsenal match. One headline read, Deng Kai looks helpless. He's speechless in the face of the powerful Arsenal. In this headline, Deng Kai was dressed casually. Another headline, holding hands didn't work. Deng Kai holds hands with Wenger to show goodwill. Wenger refuses to go all out and crushes Sporting Lisbon. This photo of Deng Kai and Hathaway holding hands was superimposed onto Wenger's hand as he continued searching his pocket, creating a striking visual effect. A third headline, embrace goodbye. Deng Kai embraces a red-haired man before leaving London. And of all the players in this match, only Ljungberg has red hair. This was absurd. Because Deng Kai's embrace of Hathaway partially obscured her red hair, only a glimpse was visible, and the English media, ever adept at fabricating stories, dragged Ljungberg into the fray. Hathaway, wait, you're taller than me? You can block me now? Deng Kai, have you heard of height increasing insoles? You better not have any, otherwise you'll be taller than me again. Hathaway, don't worry, we women don't need height increasing insoles. I'll wear heels next time. Deng Kai, high heels hurt your feet. Hathaway, oh, I thought high heels hurt your self-esteem. Kai died. The news article Kiss Goodbye. Hathaway bids farewell to Deng Kai in tears, begins filming Pirates of the Caribbean, finally didn't cause any trouble. Affected by the Champions League, Sporting Lisbon's performance dipped in the 25th round of the Portuguese League on March 2nd. They drew 2-2 with Braga, failing to widen the gap with Porto. On March 7th, the Portuguese Cup quarterfinals kicked off. Sporting Lisbon vs Benfica. The match wasn't particularly thrilling. Sporting Lisbon took the lead early on. But shortly after the start of the second half, Kaká left the field injured. This added another layer of uncertainty to Sporting Lisbon's future. They were clearly suffering from an injury crisis. The side effects of competing on three fronts began to show, and the players' physical crisis worsened into injuries. Once such situations occur, they rarely happen in isolation, but rather in clusters. Ultimately, Sporting Lisbon defeated Benfica 2-1 to advance to the Portuguese Cup semi-finals. This further burdened their three-front campaign. Some rational fans suggested it was time for the team to abandon the Champions League, despite it being the ultimate goal for every club. For Sporting Lisbon fans, reaching the Champions League round of 16 was sufficient. They were content. Reaching the quarter-finals didn't guarantee a semi-final finish, so why struggle so much in the Champions League? Moreover, the fatigue from each Champions League match is higher than in other competitions. Instead, Sporting Lisbon should focus on their league and Portuguese Cup campaigns, striving to successfully defend both titles. Chapter 465 Rematch with Juventus. Currently, Sporting Lisbon and Porto are not far apart in points, and their remaining cup opponents are not weak either. Without proper preparation, they could very well suffer a double upset. This is what fans least want to see. However, there is some good news. Porto is also under immense pressure. They are currently competing on almost three fronts. They successfully passed the UEFA Cup playoffs and entered the knockout stage. On March 10, in the 26th round of the Portuguese League, Sporting Lisbon defeated Santa Clara 3-0. Reina made several brilliant saves in this match, which served as a consolation for his poor performance against Arsenal. He had been subjected to online harassment from Barcelona and almost broke down. It was Deng Kai who found Reina and told him that even if Schmeichel recovered from his injury, Sporting Lisbon would start Reina in their final group stage match against Barcelona. Encouraged, Reina regained his confidence and quickly adapted to the team's game. On March 11, a plane full of black and white, referring to the players' names, flew to Lisbon. The east wind blows, the war drums beat. Who is Juventus afraid of? The former Serie A champions, currently second in the league, arrive in Lisbon, aiming for all 3 points at the Alvalade Stadium. They, like Sporting Lisbon, only have 4 points, trailing Barcelona and Arsenal with 7. And the team ahead of Juventus in the Serie A standings is none other than Inter Milan, a team that performed terribly last season. The acquisition of Viana and the disposal of players like the ineffective Pirlo have made Inter's squad structure relatively healthy. Pirlo? The reason for saying relatively is that they still have too many strikers, but very few who are truly effective. However, Inter fans still have lingering regrets about last season, mainly due to Lippi. This traitor seemed tactically inept when he coached Inter Milan last season. But this season with Juventus, he's suddenly become a tactical genius. He's moved Nedved from midfield to attacking midfield, transforming Juventus's flat midfield into a diamond midfield, with a variety of moves, and the results have been quite good. It's really. If it weren't for Hector Cooper's arrival, Inter Milan fans would almost think their players were all flops. But after Cooper arrived, everyone realized Inter's players were actually quite good. So where did the problem lie? Lippi's professionalism and character were also questioned as a result. Of course, some people say that Inter Milan that year simply couldn't be managed. Before the match, both sides announced their starting lineups. Juventus lineup was the same as always: Del Piero, Trezeguet, Davids, Nedved, Conte, Zambrotta, Posado, Ferrara, Montero, Thuram, Buffon. Among them, the original starting defensive midfielder Tacchinardi was unwell, and veteran Conte took the starting position. Yes, that's the future legendary coach Conte. During the match, Davids played slightly deeper, also contributing defensively. Nedved played further forward, as an attacking midfielder, completely replacing Zidane's role at Juventus. Sporting Lisbon has made significant changes: Cristiano Ronaldo, Drogba, Ibrahimovic, Duncan, Ronaldinho, Guardiola, Pepe, Barzagli, Vidic, Macon, and Reina. In attack, due to Kaká's injury, Sporting Lisbon has opted to move Ibrahimovic up the pitch. This arrangement is deliberate. It's expected that Ibrahimovic will become a key focal point for Sporting Lisbon in attack, as his counterpart, Posado, is only 1.73 meters tall. The more than 20 centimeter height difference is a calculated move by Sporting Lisbon. Furthermore, Ibrahimovic's footwork is excellent. If he gets the ball, Posado will almost certainly be unable to dispossess him. This will inevitably draw Juventus left center-back, Ferrara, out of position. In defensive midfield, with Methalis injured, Touré's starting performance has been mediocre. Choosing Pepe, a versatile player in the backline, reflects Sporting Lisbon's cautious approach, given their previous 4-0 defeat to Juventus. Regarding the three defenders, the inclusion of Macon reflects Sporting Lisbon's tactical consistency. With Ibrahimovic becoming a stable ball-carrying point on the right flank, various tactics will inevitably be developed around him. Macon's overlapping runs are therefore crucial. This is why Guardiola, who usually plays as a right defensive midfielder, moved to the left today. Pepe on the right can easily fill the defensive gaps left by Macon's forward runs. Anyone familiar with tactics can basically guess Sporting Lisbon's style of play from this formation. Tactics have no secrets. Even the most secretive tactics will be quickly figured out once used. Juventus made corresponding tactical changes in defense to counter Sporting Lisbon's formation. Davies was completely repositioned from left winger to left defensive midfielder, focusing on double-teaming Ibrahimovic while also containing Ronaldinho. Soon, the match kicked off. And sure enough, in the 9th minute, Sporting Lisbon, using Ibrahimovic as a target man, passed a ball to Ronaldinho, creating a free kick in the attacking third. Unfortunately, Deng Kai's free kick hadn't even warmed up yet, and it went wide. In the 18th minute, Ibrahimovic received the ball again. He forcefully knocked Pissarro aside, turned and feinted, outmaneuvering Pissarro and then leaving both Pissarro and Davies behind. Ferrara burst out of the penalty area, charging towards Ibrahimovic. Ronaldinho moved forward into the middle, drawing Montero's attention. Drogba, positioned between the two centre-backs, immediately started his run towards the 6-yard box. Bang! Ibrahimovic delivered a through ball. Due to Davies' attack from behind, the through ball wasn't of high quality. However, the opponent's defense had been completely torn apart, leaving ample room for maneuver, so it was still a good pass. Buffon rushed out. Drogba received the ball but didn't have time to adjust, and Buffon's timing was excellent. Facing the on-rushing Buffon, Drogba could only attempt a shot. But he couldn't even swing his leg properly. Ultimately, the ball hit Buffon and was cleared by the recovering Montero. Despite not scoring, Sporting Lisbon dominated the game against Juventus. Juventus did indeed understand Sporting Lisbon's tactical patterns, but limiting the opponent's players' performance is the most important aspect of defense. And Ibrahimovic, this player left a deep impression on Juventus. He's too strong. He's practically unstoppable. To this, Deng Kai can only say that you don't understand my great Zlatan. Whether my great Zlatan is weak against strong opponents is debatable, but he's definitely strong against weaker opponents. Once you let him play with a feeling that the opponent is nothing special, then you really have no chance. Some people say this kind of player is bad. Please, snowballing is also a skill. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 466 Golden Boot vs Goalkeeper. You see, Peach, Zambrata, is a top laner who can rack up kills in lane, but he always inexplicably collapses in mid-game team fights. In many games like League of Legends and Arena of Valor, players who can consistently snowball are always more valuable than those who only have occasional flashes of brilliance. However, Juventus is Juventus after all. In the 27th minute, Zambrata, in combination with Nedved, delivered a 45-degree cross. Trezeguet pounced on the ball and scored, netting the first goal of the match. But the linesman raised his flag, indicating that Trezeguet was offside, and the goal was disallowed. This is also the weakness of Guardiola and Duncan, two interception-oriented midfielders. Overlapping, they lack the ability to make tough tackles and are difficult to use against a player like Zambrata, who possesses both speed and technique. In the 31st minute, Duncan dropped back to ask Vidic for the ball. Vidic passed the ball, and Nedved tried to intercept it from behind Duncan. Without turning, Duncan flicked the ball to his left, passing it to Ronaldinho in his blind spot to the left, rendering Nedved's attempt futile. At the same time, he shouted to Ronaldinho, "Give it to Cristiano." Bang! Ronaldinho dribbled 2 steps, without even looking up, and passed the ball to the left flank, relying on Deng Kai's instructions. Cristiano Ronaldo successfully broke the offside trap on the left flank and charged towards the ball. Thuram was very good at defending against Cristiano Ronaldo, but once Ronaldo got past him, he couldn't keep up in time, so he had to cut inside early, giving the wing to Cristiano Ronaldo. Sure enough, after receiving the ball and dribbling into the attacking third, Cristiano Ronaldo began to try to cut inside. He hadn't cut 2 steps before he was facing Thuram head-on. Cristiano Ronaldo indeed unleashed his signature move, the zombie dribble. In a flash, Cristiano Ronaldo flicked the ball down the wing, abandoning the direct challenge to Thuram. In their last encounter, Cristiano Ronaldo, apart from one one-on-one opportunity, was completely contained by Thuram throughout the game. He is not yet a match for this top defender. Mainly, he is physically inferior. Thuram's focus is on preventing Ronaldo from cutting inside, and with Cristiano Ronaldo going down the wing below the penalty area, Thuram's follow-up is naturally slower. But it could still cover Ronaldo's cutback pass route. As for a lateral pass, Ronaldo was almost at the byline. Was he going to pass to Buffon? The area in front of the goal is the goalkeeper's own territory. Under normal circumstances, a lateral pass needs to be at least 1.5 or 2 meters away from the goal line to be considered a good pass. Bang! Ronaldo caught up with the ball, but didn't use his left foot to cross or cut back. His passing isn't great, and his left-footed passing is even worse. Besides, why pass at all? Thuram leaped and stretched out his leg, almost grazing Ronaldo's right instep. But Ronaldo still managed a right-footed shot close to the byline. Buffon was certain Ronaldo would pass laterally. The reason he took a little time to switch from his left foot to his right was probably to pass a half-high ball to avoid Thuram's block. So, Buffon took a step out with his right foot. Then the ball landed where his right foot had just been standing, slipping into the goal through a gap of less than 25 centimeters between Buffon's right foot and the right post. Buffon tried to turn, but lost his balance and fell to his knees. Goal. Goal. There's no doubt about it. Cristiano Ronaldo. That was a beautiful goal. A shot from a super tight angle. Ronaldo's shooting angle was less than 10 degrees. There was no path for the ball to enter the goal when he shot. But he anticipated Buffon's step, or rather, Buffon misjudged Ronaldo's move. Buffon didn't expect Ronaldo to shoot. He thought Ronaldo was going to pass across. There was only one path for the ball. This space was less than 25 centimeters, and the diameter of the ball is 22.1 centimeters. 8 goals. Ronaldo has equaled Henry's goal tally, tying him for first place in the Champions League top scorer list. Statistically, he surpasses Ruud van Nistelrooy, whom the English media considers superior. After scoring, Ronaldo began his joyful celebration. This was Sporting Lisbon's home ground, and the advantage of home advantage is that when you celebrate, the fans will join in the excitement. If you celebrate and no one around you reacts, the awkwardness can be incredibly frustrating. During the celebration, Deng Kai noticed Buffon's unpleasant expression. Born in 1978, Buffon was only 23 or 24 years old at this moment, a very young age for a goalkeeper, roughly equivalent to a 17 or 18-year-old striker. Players at this age are extremely inconsistent, heavily influenced by mentality and emotions. Logically, Buffon should have been able to take conceding goals in stride. No goalkeeper can avoid conceding. A particularly brilliant goal wouldn't bother Buffon. A particularly stupid mistake would bother him, but he wouldn't dwell on it. But Ronaldo's goal just now was spectacular, but not particularly difficult. The probability of saving it was far greater than the probability of scoring. This kind of goal was truly infuriating for Buffon. Even if such a goal came 10,000 times, Buffon was confident he could block it 10,000 times. But, just, how could it? Clearly, Buffon was internally confused. Deng Kai immediately told his teammates in the attacking third that they should shoot whenever they had the chance, as the opposing goalkeeper wasn't in good form today. This greatly motivated their attacking players. In the previous encounter, Buffon's performance was arguably the best of the match, leaving Sporting Lisbon questioning their existence. He saved 2 one-on-one chances, making 4 successful saves out of 4, repeatedly defusing dangerous situations. He was like a 10-year younger Khan. In the 35th minute, Ronaldinho unleashed a long-range shot. Buffon clearly wasn't in time and didn't attempt a save. Unfortunately, he couldn't control the ball, and it went well over the crossbar. In the 37th minute, Deng Kai received a pass from Macon and passed it across to Ronaldinho before dropping back. Macon continued his forward run. Ronaldinho passed back to Deng Kai. Deng Kai, without controlling the ball, played a through ball over the top to the right wing. Macon, unmarked, sprinted down the wing and received the ball. He had ample time and space to adjust the ball's position. Bang! While adjusting, Macon, watching his teammates' runs in the penalty area, delivered a cross. The ball was incredibly fast and had a wide arc. You can judge the landing point of such a pass just by looking at its trajectory. But if you look into the penalty area, you'll know that no matter how Drogba runs inside, the ball is always going to him, and it will always find him. The brilliance of this cross lies in its proximity to the goalkeeper, yet it makes the goalkeeper hesitant to come out and catch the ball. It's not just the speed and curve of the ball that make the goalkeeper misjudge, the distance is also extremely difficult to predict. Buffon can only stand on the goal line and concentrate. Bang! Drogba, under Montero's interference, slowed down a bit. But it doesn't matter, because Macon's pass is really good. The landing point is never too far from Drogba. As long as Drogba is smart enough, he'll always find a way to get the ball. Chapter 467 Max's Incense Burning Guide. Drogba leaped forward, executing a somewhat awkward diving header. It resembled the strained effort of an old, limp eel. But it was enough. The ball shot into the net, striking the inside of the side netting. Even if Buffon stretched his arms and legs out to the maximum, he couldn't reach it. Beautiful. Macon and Drogba have connected successfully. Sporting Lisbon's tactics are working. If Ronaldo's goal was an accident, then Macon's cross is exactly what Sporting Lisbon wanted to achieve. Ibrahimovic's position is crucial. He single-handedly draws the attention of Pizarro, Davids, and Ferrara. Drogba only needs to contend with Montero, and there's such a large gap between Montero and Ferrara to exploit. 2-0. The roles of these two teams seem to have reversed since their last encounter. Sporting Lisbon has the upper hand, while Juventus sees no hope of a comeback. In fact, Juventus has indeed experienced some fluctuations in the league, dropping a lot of points they shouldn't have, leading to Inter Milan overtaking them. As long as Inter Milan doesn't make mistakes, the skies of Serie A this year could very well be blue and black. Then, with Davids is more of a venting than a serious long-range shot flying into the stands, the first half ended. The score remained 2-0. In fact, Juventus' main problem today lay with Conte. Conte, past his prime, is no longer in form. This season, he not only handed the captain's armband to Del Piero but also relegated to the bench. It's expected he'll retire in the next year or two. Reports suggest he's already enrolled in coaching courses and will retire and find new employment once he obtains his license. No player transitions to coaching while still capable of running. Conte is no exception. Deschamps and Matthäus were no different. Guardiola is no exception either. The only difference is that the latter three encountered Deng Kai and Trigueros. These players compensated for their weaknesses tactically and technically, highlighting their strengths, leading many to believe they were still at the peak. But in reality, all three are at a level where retirement is possible. Maxi, so they didn't encounter me? Guardiola, you can understand Deschamps and Matthäus, but I'm playing right next to you, and you want me to retire? Guardiola, so I'll leave? In the second half, Juventus didn't make any personnel changes, but they certainly made tactical adjustments. Their defense visibly intensified. In the 64th minute, Ronaldinho and Cristiano Ronaldo switched positions, and Ronaldinho received a pass from Duncan and attempted a step over, only to be violently brought down by Thuram. The referee warned Thuram that a second offense would result in a yellow card. Ronaldinho lay on the ground for a while, even requiring the team doctor to come onto the field. He then received treatment off the field, tentatively walking and running around for a bit before returning to the pitch. This alarmed everyone at Sporting Lisbon. If Ronaldinho were to get injured again, they would have three key midfielders out, essentially wiping out a midfield of other teams. Even with Duncan's brilliance, he would be overwhelmed. In the 70th minute, Drogba dropped back to receive the ball and passed it across to Ronaldo, who unleashed a long-range shot before Montero could catch up. However, Buffon had recovered and successfully tipped the ball over the bar. Ronaldinho took the free kick. Bang! The ball was launched. Chaos erupted in the Juventus penalty area. However, Deng Kai, outside the penalty area line, suddenly surged forward, charging all the way to the penalty spot, where he was completely unmarked. The ball fell to Deng Kai. Without stopping the ball, Deng Kai unleashed a powerful shot. There was no need to worry about the angle. With so many people in the penalty area, luck was more important than shooting skill. Swish. And Deng Kai's luck has always been good. The ball flew straight into the net, creating a white splash. Goal. Deng Kai has scored. He finished off Juventus's struggling corpse. This is also Deng Kai's 7th goal in this Champions League. He is tied for second place in the Champions League top scorer list with Van Nistelrooy. Keep in mind, he's a midfielder. 3-0. Sporting Lisbon defeats Juventus. The English took a point from this stadium, while the Italians couldn't even take one. Because this is Portuguese territory, this is the domain of the footballing Caesar. The Alvalade Stadium erupted once again. Fans began to sing their team's anthem, celebrating that their team had kept their chance to advance to the quarterfinals alive. After the celebrations, Sporting Lisbon promptly made substitutions. Veloso replaced Ronaldinho, who had been sitting on the ground checking his ankle again after taking a corner kick. Ronaldinho's ankle was most likely injured by Thuram's tackle. The main question now was the severity of the injury and whether it would affect his performance in the later stages of the game. Veloso moved to Pepe's position, while Pepe moved to left back. Sporting Lisbon switched to 4-3-3 formation, strengthening their defense. At the same time, Juventus also began making personnel adjustments, replacing the underperforming defensive midfielder Conti and centre-back Montero. In the 88th minute, Nedved held off the substitute Veloso and delivered a through ball. Del Piero played a 1-2 pass to Trezeguet. Trezeguet controlled the ball, faked a shot to get past Vidic, and then scored, netting Juventus' only goal of the match 1-3. Juventus managed to salvage a somewhat respectable record, avoiding a humiliating defeat. After the match, Lippi stated that Juventus lost to themselves, and while Sporting Lisbon wasn't particularly strong, Juventus defenders seemed like they hadn't slept properly. Trigura also expressed his concern about Ronaldinho's injury in an interview, describing it as, "The devil of injury seems to have targeted Sporting Lisbon. It's difficult to fully explain everything from a scientific perspective." Maxi even booked a flight to China on the spot. Chinese temples are very efficacious. In China, burning incense is always a good idea when you encounter problems. K's ancestral home is Jiangao, Mianang, Sichuan, so I will choose to burn incense at 3 temples: Shangshu Temple in Mianang, Kikwishan Temple in Zidane, Mianang, and Luhan Temple in Jiangao, Mianang. This isn't superstition, it's just a beautiful wish. A reporter asked, "What will happen to your players without you?" The reporter implied that without Maxi, what would happen to the team's tactics, training, and morale? However, the reporter didn't understand Maxi's true role at Sporting Lisbon. Maxi didn't need to explain, he simply smiled and said, "Don't worry, everyone. Although I'm temporarily leaving, Font will take over my duties. He has tremendous potential in this area. And I believe he can achieve something comparable to mine in the future." The reporters were astonished. In which areas? Football? Who knew Font had the potential to be a great coach? They were truly blind to his talent. P.S. Readers who can retain their monthly votes can check for double vote events at the end of the month and cast their votes for Peach. For those who can't retain their votes and might vote for other books, Peach suggests casting your votes for Our Powerful Peach as soon as possible. It's not that Peach doesn't trust everyone, it's just that a riot of colors dazzles the eye, and the neighbor's son hasn't stolen anything. Peach is afraid you might miss out. Chapter 468 Silver Fox's Mischief, Professor's Pressure. No wonder everyone's been saying Font hasn't played lately. Everyone thought he was just bad at the game. Turns out he's using the guise of a substitute player to actually act as an assistant coach. No wonder he didn't even come out of the locker room in the second half. He must be calculating some complex data to provide tactical support for Trigura, right? To this, Maxi said, "You guessed wrong. It's about something unrelated to football. He didn't play, he didn't even show up, not only because he's bad at the game, but also because he was cooking." Yes, right now. Sporting Lisbon locker room. The players, having just finished a brilliant match, were all lying on the floor, dry heaving. Font held a large black iron pot, its thick soup boiling. Font sprinkled on a lot of cilantro. His technique was practiced. Make way, Kai, come and try my Jiangao braised pork intestines, see if it's authentic. Pork intestines, cilantro, these are things that some people find delicious, while others find them as disgusting as shit. After his signature Assam milk tea, Chef Font has developed a new skill, Jiangao-style braised pork intestines, which solidifies his title as Sporting Lisbon's top chef. Even without Marxa, Kai won't go hungry. Coincidentally, the famous Dutch coach Louis van Gaal also has the nickname Chef Van. With Marx's endorsement, Font has leaped to become the next world-class coach. Many fans are even praying that Font will slip and injure his thumb in the shower tonight, thus retiring on the spot and transitioning directly into coaching. Only then will Font's talent not be wasted. Even if Font knew, he would surely be moved, right? Some of Font's die-hard fans are even thinking of helping him out themselves. Although breaking Font's leg is illegal, let alone illegal, Font's fans are willing to go against the world. Font, why should I go against the world? Fans, but we can help you go against the world. Font, I don't deserve high-quality fans like you. Go be a fan of Kai. Fans, but Kai often really is at odds with the whole world. Font, you are like me. I'm not alone. This is my private group with Mr. Maxa, you can join. Sporting Lisbon turns the tide and defeats Juventus. 7 points keep their hopes of qualifying alive. Sporting Lisbon stars regain their confidence, stunned by Buffon in the first leg, but crushing him in the second. Barcelona beats Arsenal 2-0 at home. The probability of getting 10 points in 5 rounds is as high as 99.99%. Barcelona is very close to qualifying early. Arsenal and Sporting Lisbon are competing for second place in the group with 7 points. Juventus is very close to qualifying early. If they beat Arsenal in the last round and Sporting Lisbon loses to Barcelona, Juventus can qualify on goal difference. The group of death lives up to its name. Juventus needs a big win, and the results of Arsenal and Sporting Lisbon's last round match must be better than each other's. Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Real Madrid, and Bayer Leverkusen have already secured their places in the Champions League quarterfinals. Liverpool, Deportivo La Coruña, and Barcelona have a very high probability of advancing. Arsenal, Juventus, and Sporting Lisbon are vying for a quarterfinal spot. Over 80% of fans are interested in the group's outcome. Cristiano Ronaldo equals Thierry Henry to top the Champions League scoring charts. Duncan catches Ruud van Nistelrooy. Tied for second place. Ronaldinho suffers ankle injury, his participation in the next Champions League match is doubtful. Following the matches, the Champions League's hype reached its peak before the knockout stage, even surpassing the attention given to the quarterfinals and the first leg of the semifinals. Fans who were previously focused on the 4 groups and 16 teams were now primarily focused on the Arsenal vs Juventus and Sporting Lisbon vs Barcelona matches. Single elimination matches are naturally more exciting than the first leg of a knockout round. Moreover, it's not a matter of one team advancing and the other being eliminated. It's a one-team advancement, 2-team elimination format. The combinations during the matches can completely ignite the adrenaline of fans. However, once you enter the knockout stage, many eliminated teams' fans simply stop watching Champions League matches, so the excitement is hard to compare to the final stages of a group of death until the semifinals. Fans are hotly debating, and then a very awkward topic comes up. Will Barcelona throw the game against Sporting Lisbon, so both teams advance? This question was raised by Lippi in an interview. Our Juventus professionalism is beyond doubt, and Arsenal is also a team that never gives up for victory. But I'm worried that this same fighting spirit will disappear in the Barcelona vs Sporting Lisbon match. In response, Deng Kai said in an interview, "Of course I respect Mr. Lippi, he is very responsible to the team, something I understand in ways others don't. But regarding the word professionalism, I think Inter Milan fans might have something to say. Inter Milan fans, Geneva, refund our money." Following Lippi, Wenger added further clarification, "We certainly know that the relationship between Barcelona and Duncan is very tense, but Duncan is Duncan, and Sporting Lisbon is Sporting Lisbon. Players can represent a club sometimes, and not sometimes. Barcelona has brought in players like Figo, Simeo, and Quaresma from Sporting Lisbon. They are familiar with each other. I don't want to question the professionalism of any player, but management isn't a player. They often make decisions that are difficult for players to understand." Duncan tagged Arsenal's official website on the Donkey platform. "How many shady dealings has your management done that Professor Wenger is so dissatisfied with this kind of inside story?" Arsenal's official website immediately issued a denial. "I'm not a four. I didn't. Don't talk nonsense." It's clear that Arsenal's official website staff's Chinese isn't very good, as they typed for instead of is. After all, at this stage, Arsenal was still one of the two Premier League champions, not a team that was desperately vying for a top 4 finish. But the concerns of these two renowned managers attracted the attention of many professionals. Then Real Madrid coach Vicente Del Bosque expressed his opinion in response to a reporter's question: "No one knows Barcelona better than Real Madrid." Considering the story between Duncan and Barcelona, Barcelona could never help Duncan and his team. But we must see that sometimes weaker teams can force stronger teams to play better. Barcelona has basically secured qualification. In this situation, if Sporting Lisbon uses fouling tactics to threaten Barcelona's key players, it will be difficult for Barcelona to play at their full potential in this match. Chapter 469 Boba, Zaisa, Popapa, Wuau, Malman. Otherwise, Sporting Lisbon will lose their quarter-final spot, and Barcelona will also lose their semi-final spot. Barcelona must achieve something in the Champions League, otherwise they will face another season without any trophies. Del Bosque mocked his opponents, while also revealing some of the insidious tactics that teams of Real Madrid's caliber would encounter. In response, Deng Kai stated, "Mr. Del Bosque makes a lot of sense, but as a strong team, why can't they secure their qualification early in the 6-round group stage? Since they've secured qualification early, why shouldn't they be allowed tactical rotation?" Frankly speaking, Barcelona has been severely hampered by injuries in recent times. How did Guardiola, at his peak a few years ago, become a substitute? How many games has Rivaldo missed this season due to injury? Quaresma also experienced 2 long off-seasons at Sporting Lisbon in his previous 2 seasons. Barcelona has a very good chance of winning the Champions League this year, at least I think reaching the semi-finals is no problem. It would be a huge loss if such a team couldn't go further due to injuries to key players. His words essentially affirmed Del Bosque's concerns and issued a threatening statement to Barcelona. This infuriated Barcelona fans. The relationship between these two teams was indeed difficult to mend during Deng Kai's era. Their past conflicts included Deng Kai refusing a trial invitation from La Masia when he was 10 years old. At 13, he publicly declared he wouldn't return to Barcelona and cursed any player who voluntarily went to Barcelona, saying they would all have bad endings. Figo's direct transfer from Barcelona to Real Madrid made Barcelona a laughingstock among fans. Barcelona bought Simeo, but Simeo initially flopped, then improved, only to be manipulated by Deng Kai into wanting to leave. Liverpool snatched him away, and he's now part of Liverpool's youthful attacking trident of Owen, Gerrard, and Simeo. Quaresma's transfer to Barcelona was blocked by Deng Kai, and Barcelona later had to pay 4 times the price to reacquire Quaresma, losing a fortune. Barcelona was humiliated in the UEFA Cup semi-final by Deng Kai, who scored a hat-trick of headers. Barcelona players received multiple red and yellow cards in that match because of Deng Kai, and were subsequently suspended. In their first Champions League encounter this season, Sporting Lisbon defeated Barcelona 3-0 at home, then delivered blatant taunts. With so many grudges, do you think Barcelona can tolerate this? Forget about the club's management or coaching staff wanting to play a fixed match with Sporting Lisbon for the sake of results. The players and fans were the first to object. Because Barcelona's official response was non-existent, Barcelona coach Reshak refused to discuss the matter during league matches, directly destabilizing the team's morale. Fans even unfurled a banner in the stands saying "Bloodbath the Portuguese." Barcelona lost their league match as a result, and the consequences became increasingly severe. Finally, Barcelona officially reached a consensus. A press conference was held, attended by coach Reshak and then captain Enrique. Reshak stated, "Barcelona will approach the next match against Sporting Lisbon with the attitude of a Champions League final. We will fight with all our might to win the victory that belongs to us. We will always remember what the Portuguese did at Camp Nou last season. We will never let the disgusting Swiss celebration echo through Camp Nou again. This time, we fight for the fans." Enrique also delivered a passionate speech, expressing the support of the entire Barcelona first team for this decision, and even released the team's collective signature, including Quaresma's. Of course, Quaresma had privately spoken with Deng Kai about this beforehand. He knew Deng Kai was reliable and didn't want to become friends with him. After all, regardless of the Golden Generation's performance after this year's World Cup, Deng Kai would inevitably join the Portuguese national team and form the starting lineup alongside Figo, Rui Costa, Nuno Gomes, Simeo, Ronaldo, and himself. Considering Deng Kai's leadership abilities, Quaresma had no doubt that the Portuguese team would ultimately be named after him. Deng. Suddenly, the media largely accepted Sporting Lisbon's elimination. Because Barcelona was serious. This put considerable pressure on everyone at Sporting Lisbon. In reality, was Sporting Lisbon afraid of Barcelona? They were afraid Barcelona wouldn't score. It's not like they hadn't played against them before. The last time they met, it was a 3-0 victory. Were they playing their youth team? But with this wave of media manipulation, Sporting Lisbon truly felt like it was the end of the world. The balance of power between the two sides had shifted dramatically without them even realizing it. This kind of momentum is not easily perceived by ordinary people, making them easily swayed. Becham's forte is manipulating situations, and Barcelona is probably still too inexperienced to play this trick on him. The changes brought about by the information explosion era to everyone are unimaginable in this team age. Soon, at the pre-match press conference for the 27th round of the Portuguese League, Sporting Lisbon gave a unified response to Barcelona's recent comments. Sitting next to Trigura, Deng Kai answered fluently throughout, expressing the opinions of himself and the rest of the Sporting Lisbon team. Deng Kai, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for their attention to our upcoming match against Barcelona. We will strive to bring you a wonderful game. But there are a few points I want to emphasize, or rather, remind you of. Last year in the UEFA Cup, we eliminated Barcelona. Us. In our first encounter with Barcelona this year, we slaughtered them 4-0. Us. Perhaps Barcelona qualified early in this group, but that's only because we were their opponent in 2 of their 6 matches. If we had faced them in all 6, Barcelona wouldn't have gotten a single point. Us. In the next match, Sporting Lisbon will definitely win. I said it. Finally. I'm pleased that Barcelona said they will approach the next match with the attitude of a Champions League final. Because this way, they can no longer make excuses for their loss. But I'm sorry, I watched the 1997-1998 Champions League final between Real Madrid and Juventus. I watched the 1998-1999 final between Manchester United and Bayern Munich. I watched the 1999-09 final between Real Madrid and Valencia, and last season's final between Bayern Munich and Valencia. But I've never actually seen a Champions League final with Barcelona involved. I hope that next time Barcelona makes a bold statement, they'll talk about what they've already achieved, instead of what they'll do in the future. Look at the examples I gave, then look at the examples Barcelona gave. Haven't you realized who's afraid of whom? Come on, repeat after me. Boba, Zaisa, Poba, Uwo, Moman. Chapter 470. The fervent female fan of Duncan that made Ronaldo jealous. So, I advise Barcelona fans hoping for a victory not to go to Camp Nou for the next match, or you'll be greeted with a meaningless yet extremely painful defeat. I said it. Deng Kai, pointing fingers and speaking passionately, ignited the passion of the media present. As a Portuguese league match, the audience was naturally mostly Portuguese media. These reporters were also hoping that Sporting Lisbon could reach the Champions League quarterfinals. That would improve everyone's lives, a rise in status, right? Kaiser. 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 The reporters chanted Deng Kai's name in unison. Even the coach of Ferreira, who had finished his pre-match press conference earlier, applauded Deng Kai. So passionate. Forget playing football. Just give Kai 3 points. Mourinho, damn it. Play well, don't make any crosses. Porto is counting on you to help them catch up. In a corner, a reporter wearing a baseball cap and large sunglasses looked somewhat bewildered. Beside her was the friend who had brought her in. Friend, isn't it shocking? The woman nodded. I thought he was a child, I never imagined he was a king. Friend, so, do you still dare to demand compensation from him? The woman looked hesitant, finally saying, I'm already here. The friend admired the woman's courage. No wonder she's the Keira Knightley I know. Indeed, Keira Knightley had secretly traveled to Lisbon. She was there to collect her debts. She couldn't wait until summer to go to sea, because she was facing a difficult career choice. Hathaway had previously mentioned in an interview how Duncan had helped her, solidifying her decision, and so on. Beckham and Victoria had also repeatedly said that Duncan was a very visionary person, his opinions were very forward-thinking, and even if not adopted, they were worth listening to. Of course, as an English woman, Keira herself was also a seasoned football fan, her favorite team being West Ham United. She even loved playing football as a child and joined her school's girls' football team. So today was a good day to watch Sporting Lisbon, who have been on a roll lately. West Ham United haven't qualified for the Champions League or the UEFA Cup in over a decade. Before the start of this season, manager Harry Redknapp even resigned, with young youth team coach Glenn Rodriguez temporarily taking over. In terms of points, West Ham haven't fallen behind and seem to have a chance to qualify for the UEFA Cup. However, their performances haven't been satisfactory. A 1-7 defeat to Blackburn, a 0-5 loss to Everton, a 1-5 defeat to Chelsea. So watching a Sporting Lisbon match might be a therapeutic experience for Kira. At least. Sporting Lisbon's performance in the Portuguese league is still solid, right? 90 minutes later, Kira left the stadium satisfied. A beautiful 3-0 victory, Sporting Lisbon played well, achieving their third consecutive win across all competitions. Although Ronaldinho was injured, Kaká returned from injury and provided an assist for Duncan. However, despite Kira's low-key approach, he didn't attract the attention of the Portuguese media. But she forgot that as a rising star in English football, how could she possibly escape the paparazzi from Fleet Street? Especially the Sun. You should have passed me the ball, I was already in open space. After the match, the Sporting Lisbon players walked from the locker room to the parking lot. Cristiano Ronaldo was particularly unhappy with a goal scored by Duncan. This guy had reduced his goal tally by 1 again, it was really annoying. Duncan questioned Ronaldo's accusation, you call being double-teamed in open space? Come on, other players are born of mothers and fathers too, can you please stop shooting at them? Have some decency. Ronaldo scoffed, you're talking nonsense. I can dribble past them, my shots will bypass the defenders. Duncan laughed, a zombie dribble? Or have you changed your name to Chris Ronaldinho? Only Ronaldinho in our team can consistently do what you say. Duncan. Ronaldo's pulling was interrupted. A woman wearing a black baseball cap and large sunglasses jumped out from the side, blocking the player's path. Do you remember me? Deng Kai, I'm. Before the woman could finish speaking, the person next to the player she had stopped spoke up. I don't know if I remember you, but I'm sure you don't remember me, because the player you stopped is called Kaká. Kayla was mortified. She turned to Deng Kai and muttered, watching the game from the stands, you all seemed about the same height. Deng Kai's teammates chuckled. Talking about height in 2 places was illegal. One was Barcelona. The other was in front of Deng Kai. However, Kaká noticed that Ronaldo wasn't smiling. Instead, he was very serious, even trembling with coldness. What's wrong? Kaká went over to ask. Cristiano Ronaldo gritted his teeth and said, that's too much? Why are all the pretty female fans of Kai? Oh no. I mean, Kai is already dating Anne Hathaway, he should keep his distance from other female fans. Kaká thought it was normal, but this is a female fan who stopped Kai. He can't just kick her out, it's just politeness, don't be so sensitive. Ronaldo, but she said, do you remember me? That means she and Kai must have had contact before. That shameless guy, I must expose his ugly face to Hathaway. Kaká asked doubtfully, are you worried that Hathaway's feelings will be deceived by Deng Kai? Ronaldo shook his head, that way, Kai can spend more time on the training ground. A few days ago, he went to England to send Hathaway to the group, wasting too much training time. If this continues, he will fall behind our pace sooner or later. On the other side, after a brief moment of confusion, Deng Kai quickly recognized Kira. After all, Kira's appearance is actually very recognizable among European and American actresses. You are. Deng Kai made an expression of recognizing Kira. Kayla's lips curled slightly upward, quite pleased with her newfound fame. Scarlett Johansson. Deng Kai said with absolute certainty. Kayla's expression shifted from sunny to cloudy, she felt offended. Deng Kai laughed, extending his hand to shake Kayla's, saying, just kidding. Kayla then extended her hand with satisfaction. Natalie Portman, your performance in Leon, the professional was simply. Kayla raised her foot to kick Deng Kai. If the first time it was an accident, she was now certain he recognized her and was teasing her. However, Deng Kai's anticipation was always superb, he slightly shifted his body, and Kayla, due to excessive force, kicked her high heel away. For a moment, she looked rather embarrassed. Chapter 471 This female fan looks like Keira Knightley. Kaká and Ronaldo were both stunned. This is already about taking off shoes? Isn't this happening a bit too fast? Fight. Deng Kai reached out to help Kayla, who was standing on one leg, and gestured for Font to pick up her shoes. Eavesdropping on other people's phone calls isn't a good habit. Kayla's expression immediately became interesting. How did you know I was? No, it wasn't eavesdropping. David had it on speakerphone, so of course I could hear. Deng Kai nodded, so he has to compensate me with a case of autographed footballs. What he did was very unfair. If I hadn't been more polite, wouldn't I have made enemies with you, the English Rose? I don't want to make enemies in the entertainment industry for Hathaway for no reason. Kayla put her heels back on. Didn't your actions just now make enemies for her? Deng Kai, I thought it was humor. Kayla, David did that to help me. I hope you won't pursue it with him. If you want autographed footballs, can I sign a case for you? Although I know my commercial value is far less than David's, it's still a crossover, and it's very meaningful. And I believe the footballs I sign will be very valuable in the future. Deng Kai nodded. I admire your confidence and believe in your predictions for the future. But, are you sure you want to sign a container of footballs? I'm worried you'll get tendinitis in your wrist. Kayla? Good luck, David. Kayla took off her sunglasses, her stunning beauty captivating the players of Sporting Lisbon. By the way, do you have time? I'd like to invite you to dinner. Deng Kai nodded. He knew Kayla must have encountered something and wanted his advice. Also, despite Kayla's earlier boisterousness, she was actually a very straightforward and honest girl, not pretentious at all. She was the kind of girl who was easy to befriend and made you feel relaxed and comfortable once you became friends. At the very least, since it was supposed to be Deng Kai's apology, her willingness to take the initiative to resolve the conflict was a rare quality. Moreover, she wasn't angry about the Scarlett and Portman joke. Otherwise, that kick wouldn't have been from right to left, but from bottom to top. That would have been really hard to dodge. However, Kai, am a very good person. Otherwise, if he had just flicked his wrist when Kayla kicked at him, it wouldn't have just been her high heels flying off, but her underwear would probably have been blown off too. Purple. That probably won't work. Deng Kai refused Kayla's invitation. Cristiano Ronaldo smiled slightly beside him. Kai, the organization's trust in you was not in vain. You really resisted this honey trap. Excellent. Since we're in Lisbon, there's no reason for me to let you make the arrangements. Of course, I should treat you to dinner. This is our Eastern way of hospitality. After Deng Kai finished speaking, he gestured for Font to go get the car. Deng Kai is not yet of legal driving age in Portugal and needs a driver. Only after Font drove away did Everett frown and say, the female fan who just came to see Keira was Keira Knightley? Ibrahimovic, really? The English actress? Drogba, wow. The English Rose really came. The sun is awesome. Pepe, that's so cool. Keira has so many celebrity fans, I'm so envious. Barzagli, we can't tell anyone about this, otherwise if Hathaway overthinks it and has a falling out with Keira, it'll affect Keira's performance, and that would be troublesome. Wu Zedong, with such a big enemy at hand, we really can't have these kinds of unfounded rumors. Then, the teammates all looked at Ronaldo. The meaning was clear. We have a mole among us. Ronaldo immediately got angry. What? You doubt me? Do you think I'm that kind of person? The teammates all nodded. Cristiano Ronaldo was speechless. Kaká, what do you think I am? Kaká quietly distanced himself from Ronaldo, looking up at the ceiling of the underground parking garage. The moon is so big and round tonight. A Chinese restaurant. Lisbon didn't have many Chinese restaurants before. But in the last 2 years, they've suddenly sprung up, including some high-end establishments with impressive facilities. And the taste of Chinese food is indeed domineering. So much so that Kayla, who originally planned to talk business while eating, finished off all the dishes on the table in one go before remembering that she still had something to say. To put it bluntly, it was about choosing a movie. Because Pirates of the Caribbean was snatched away by a certain discerning dog, Kayla had been single for the past 6 months. But there weren't many options for her. She wasn't exactly a big star yet, just a minor celebrity. For example, in November of this year, a compilation film called Love Actually approached Kayla. A compilation film is a movie with multiple short stories, and the characters often have small roles. Kayla, of course, wasn't interested in such movies. After starring in I Love Beckham, she now has certain requirements regarding the status of her roles. Ideally, she'd like a leading lady, but if that's not possible, a memorable supporting role would be fine. Love Actually will be a good movie. Deng Kai's opinion was completely opposite to Kayla's. It's a movie specifically made for Christmas, with 10 stories that are touching and cover a wide range of scenarios that most people can encounter or imagine. Just based on that, the film won't be bad. Besides, Christmas happens every year. If this movie is well made, it will become a classic, generating buzz every Christmas, an advantage that other movies can never have. In acting, some people promote the film, and some films promote the actor. This movie is a rare case where the film consistently promotes the actor. It has great staying power. Kayla nodded, agreeing with Deng Kai's opinion, and then mentioned her commercial transition and the choices she made during her 6-month hiatus. After all, Love Actually wouldn't start filming until the end of the year, and she still had 6 months. She couldn't just waste it like that. But after listening to the scripts Kayla mentioned, Deng Kai frowned. He didn't recognize any of them. None of them seemed like good films. One film, in particular, sounded like a borderline romance just from the title. Low budget, borderline content, explicit scenes, requiring actresses to make certain sacrifices, even huge ones. This could be a good opportunity for many actresses just starting out in the entertainment industry, but also a sweet trap that could easily become a stain on their future careers. Deng Kai immediately rejected the film. Kira retorted, "Your evaluation and reasons are exactly the same as my parents." Ultimately, Deng Kai took a different approach, thinking of a film he had previously advised Hathaway on. However, considering the continued success of Pirates of the Caribbean, he reluctantly abandoned that film. But in the short term, that film was actually more effective. After all, it was a blockbuster that could become the year's box office champion. Using this to compensate Kira could truly be considered a clean break. Chapter 472 You're Cheap, Veteran Green Master. Bruce Almighty. Directed by Tom Shadyac, starring Jim Carrey. Also starring Morgan Freeman and Philip Baker Hall, among other well-known actors. Deng Kai was very impressed with this film, which was expected to be the North American box office champion next year. It was a purely commercial film, which suited Kayla perfectly, as she was seeking commercial success. Kayla's appearance made her look like an art house film actress. Commercial films were a more challenging area for her to expand into. Kayla immediately contacted her agent and obtained some relevant, albeit not exactly secret, inside information. Kayla frowned. The competition for the lead role in this movie is extremely fierce. I heard Eva Mendes and Jennifer Aniston are both in talks with the producers. Deng Kai shrugged. That's the part you need to work on. But I can warn you, if filming starts this summer, Eva Mendes' schedule will be difficult to coordinate. And Jennifer Aniston will also be filming Friends and Meet Polly at the same time. Kayla's eyes lit up. So, my biggest advantage is that I'm focused. I have the time, I'll only film this one movie. Deng Kai shook his head. No, your biggest advantage is that you're cheap. Kayla was taken aback at first, then nodded, and then suddenly blushed, glaring at Deng Kai. Her thought process was quite obvious. This. I didn't mean that, Deng Kai apologized to Kayla. Calling a girl cheap was tantamount to slapping her in the face. Of course, you can't say she's expensive either. That shouldn't be described by price. So later, many sophisticated girls emerged online claiming, "I'm not some cheap girl," seemingly expressing their refinement and taste, but actually objectifying or even valuing themselves. In the end, they ended up hurting others, truly hypocritical. No matter who you are, you must first respect and love yourself before you can earn the respect and love of others. Fortunately, Kayla wasn't a sensitive girl who couldn't take a joke. She understood that Deng Kai meant cheap in terms of salary. This was also an important factor in the competition for roles. By the way, isn't he really going to come in and eat something? Kayla saw Font eating a hamburger downstairs through the window. Deng Kai said helplessly, "It's okay, he's used to it. If you really ask him to come over for dinner, he'll feel uncomfortable and might even keep wondering if he's done something wrong." Kayla was full of questions. Were there really such people? Deng Kai suggested that perhaps Font had high standards for himself. The two then happily left the Chinese restaurant. Deng Kai even drove Kayla to her hotel. "Font, you drove her here?" Before parting, Kayla complimented Font's car. "It seems you players are all very wealthy. This car is the ceiling for ordinary people. He looks only 30 years old and already drives such a nice car. I know not all players can afford sports cars. As a substitute player who hardly gets any playing time, it's not easy." Deng Kai nodded. "Yes, this car is indeed quite expensive, but it's mine. A friend from the UAE gave it to me. Also, Font is 19 years old this year. As for being a substitute with little playing time, he's only become like this in the last 2 seasons. Kayla, this. I thought his career was going to be so bleak at the end. I didn't expect this to be just the beginning of his career. Font laughed beside her. Bleak? If it's about playing football, then yes, a bit. But that's just a side job. As a slashy, Font has already achieved a certain status in customer and brand relationship maintenance and operation, team internal atmosphere adjustment group, and the catering industry. The Sporting Lisbon dressing room is now divided in 2. One half is shared by the other players. The other half is Font's cooking room. A copy of the card game was given to Kira. The next day, Deng Kai was woken up by a call from Ronaldo. He opened his phone, and news from the Sun was frantically refreshing his screen. Kira nightly disguised herself and made a low-key appearance at the Alvalade Stadium to watch the game. This one was alright, just a few pretty photos of Kira. Revenge or confrontation? Kira Knightley had previously reached an agreement with the Pirates of the Caribbean crew, but was snatched away by Anne Hathaway at the last minute. You stole my script? I stole your man? Kira meets with Deng Kai at night. The two have a candlelight dinner together. Intimate outing. Kira and Deng Kai dine for 3 hours. Afterwards Deng Kai takes Kira to the hotel. Kira steals a home. Did she choose Deng Kai or want to replicate Hathaway's rise to fame? West Ham United fans support Kira. Bring Deng Kai to Upton Park. West Hammer's star female fan secretly meets with Deng Kai. Hathaway just left, and Deng Kai's already cheating? Look at what you've done. You're in trouble now. Ronaldo yelled on the phone, furious. Deng Kai, still sleepy, said, calm down, Ronaldo, you need to calm down. Even if I really cheated, you're not the one who'll get hurt. There's no need for you to be so agitated. Your reaction makes one wonder if you're a seasoned cuckold. Although Ronaldo's Chinese was at a child's voice translation level, he still didn't understand some new words. Deng Kai added, looking forward to a lucky break and a shock. But as it turned out, Ronaldo's anxiety was justified. Media and the public in England, Portugal, the United States, and China paid close attention to this matter. Americans, outrageous. We demand justice for our school goddess. Britons, go Kira. Let the Americans know who the real aristocrats are. Portuguese, go DK. Try to marry both Annie and Kira and bring glory to Portugal. Chinese, that scumbag Deng Kai is two-timing. He's a disgrace on the international stage. With such poor character, he can't possibly be a good footballer. For a time, everyone had something to say. However, the main voices of discussion in China came from several football clubs rejected by Dong Qiudi and Football News. The former, seeing Dong Qiudi's growing strength and the visibly increasing fan base of teams like Dalian Shide and Sichuan Guangxing who joined early, also wanted to join. But Dong Qiudi dug up their past statements, given that they had previously said they would never join, and Dong Qiudi promised to help them fulfill their promise. This is how the two sides gradually developed some animosity. But this was only on the surface. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 473 Container Get. In reality, many deeper grievances are not convenient to discuss openly. For example, as the influence of Dong Qiudi, a popular Chinese sports betting platform, grew, some people suggested that Dong Qiudi hype up certain young players, turning them into the next Deng Kai or Wu Zedong. This would allow them to gain considerable income through player transfers, balance their accounts with inflated player valuations, or even place these players in special and important matches to precisely control the score. Of course, there were also more complex methods of use, essentially having Dong Qiudi facilitate shady transactions. In the future, many people believe that the Chinese national football team only started to deteriorate after 2002. How could it have become so rotten without 20 years of settling down? So riddled with problems? But in fact, fans weren't already asking these questions in 2002. At that time, domestic football was already riddled with problems. There were even instances of gangsters threatening certain team coaches with trolls, forcing them to include certain players in the starting lineup. And those players were only included in the starting lineup because the coaches felt they were acting abnormally. This isn't the first or second time something like this has happened. This industry is rotten to the core. Medicine is useless. Of course, Deng Kai, a sports media outlet, wouldn't earn money from such dirty and shady dealings, and resolutely refused. Therefore, in Kai Xiao's home turf, his reputation is now in danger. After all, my country has always valued morality. But Deng Kai quickly launched a counterattack. Headlines like, "A story of three, but the media only talks about you too," Font says he's been ignored too much, and that year, 19, inside a BMW, sitting like a henchman. Double Kai date, Font was present, proving their innocence, and Font, Kayla came to talk to Kai Xiao. She had some script-related concerns and wanted his opinion. But Font's power alone was clearly insufficient. At least on the international stage, most netizens still believe that Deng Kai and Kayla had something going on. The related topics were gaining increasing popularity. Especially in England, Kira went from an obscure child star, the next English Rose, to true English Rose, becoming a symbolic figure for the English to rival American sweetheart Hathaway. Popularity brought traffic. The rivalry brought status. Kira hadn't even released a single major work yet, but she achieved an astonishing status in the entertainment industry. It left her peers speechless. Was Deng Kai really that charismatic? Suddenly, many female models were tempted. But they only saw part of it. Behind the Kira's meteoric rise were many reasons, the main ones being unseen by most. But Deng Kai could see them. Ask yourself, what media outlet would travel all the way from the British Isles to the Iberian Peninsula to follow Kira? Even if they had the budget, time, and inclination, would they do it without prior information? So the answer is clear, someone gave the Sun advance notice. Considering the Sun's dual focus on entertainment and football, and its knowledge of Kira's whereabouts, even considering the other party's prediction of Deng Kai's actions, their identity wasn't hard to determine. Deng Kai took out his phone and dialed a number from his contacts. "Hey, Kai? What's up? A little nervous about going to Barcelona?" The other person sounded very natural. Deng Kai smiled, "Not really nervous, but it's not as easy as Manchester United advancing to the quarterfinals early." "David, what's your wife been up to these past few days?" Beckham said, "She's been working really hard lately, racking her brains for the pre-release promotion of the movie I Love Beckham. You know, we all hope this movie will become a landmark in football history. Like Jordan's Space Jam." Deng Kai nodded, his 95% certainty turning into 100%. He then explained the situation to Beckham. Beckham believed it just from Deng Kai's explanation, because it was indeed Victoria's style of doing things. However, Deng Kai said that Beckham didn't need to be angry with Victoria, it wasn't a bad thing, he just needed to confirm. Soon, Beckham called, "Kai, I'm sorry, it really was Victoria who did it, she." Deng Kai was very magnanimous, "It's okay, really it's okay. I'm not afraid of the attention, and I don't care about the opinions of the outside world. As long as I can explain things clearly to Hathaway, Kira, and the other people involved, these are not problems. However, this is indeed a very good marketing campaign. Around tonight, news related to I Love Beckham will be online. Wave after wave, it should be able to capture all the attention in the entertainment industry, and the film will have a good premiere." Beckham was stunned. "You're really not angry?" Deng Kai, "Absolutely, this won't affect our relationship, I promise. This is a win-win situation. Your movie will get more attention because of this, and Kira will also have more leverage in the fight for the script of Bruce Almighty." Hathaway maintained her popularity and attention during the low-key period of filming, and after the movie is finished and enters the promotion period, she can even use this incident to create hype and gather attention for the new movie. It's like a perpetual motion machine. Of course, all of this is based on the premise that Kira and I really have nothing going on. Otherwise, everyone will get hurt because of this, so next time there's something like this, Victoria can definitely let me know beforehand, and we can make this marketing campaign even more perfect, right? Beckham nodded repeatedly. Indeed, David is so generous. By the way, you said it's so good for all parties, but isn't there any downside? I feel like you didn't get any benefit. After all, you don't lack attention. If it weren't for you, it might even affect your performance. Your match against Barcelona is crucial." Deng Kai said, "The match is fine. I never worry about my matches because I always give my all. If we really lose, I'll accept it. The only person who might get hurt because of this whole series of plans is actually you, David." Beckham looked completely bewildered. Deng Kai, although I can handle this, Victoria's actions were still a bit unfair. As her older brother, shouldn't you apologize? Beckham was slightly embarrassed. Indeed, I'm willing to apologize to you for Victoria, just like you were willing to apologize to Hathaway and Kira. Is it about the autographed football? A whole box, right? Your brother David will arrange it for you. Deng Kai gave him a thumbs up from afar, as expected of the top star in England. England's #1 football star. Generous. Beckham, then send the box over, my address is. Deng Kai interrupted Beckham, no, I'll arrange the box. But I'm afraid you'll have to pick it up at the port of Manchester. Sending it over isn't very convenient. Beckham frowned, port? Why? Because this box is a container box. Deng Kai hung up the phone first, leaving Beckham wailing in tears on the other end of the line. He believed that the next time Beckham appeared in public, his right hand would be wrapped in a medical bandage. Chapter 474, a little pricey, Kayla 10s. A whole container. How much will that cost? Especially next summer. My dear Sporting Lisbon fans, I've prepared the best gift for you next summer. It's a little pricey, but you have to buy it. On March 19th, the entire Sporting Lisbon team landed in Barcelona, preparing for tomorrow's crucial Champions League match. From the moment Deng Kai stepped off the plane, Barcelona fans and reporters were already trying to figure out his mindset. Reporter, Deng Kai, you cheated on me with Keira Knightley, won't your conscience bother you? Deng Kai glanced at his watch, now you can refresh the news on Donkey, a Chinese sports website. Everyone refreshed. A video interview with Victoria Beckham appeared on the Donkey website. Deng Kai and Keira? Come on, this is really funny because I knew about this from beginning to end, and I was the one who asked Keira to go to Deng Kai. Here's what happened, get it? So I really have to give Deng Kai a thumbs up, he's so good to Hathaway, I really hope all men in the world learn from him. That's true selfless dedication, you know? Off camera, Beckham, who was being interviewed, had bandages on both hands. I really want to tell Victoria, your husband is great too. Later, Victoria announced that I Love Beckham, starring Keira Knightley, would be released as a surprise on April Fool's Day, April 11th. In fact, Victoria originally planned to announce this exclusive news in The Sun. However, Deng Kai suggested an announcement on Donkey, arguing that if everything was announced by The Sun, it would feel like she was directing and acting herself. Victoria then adopted Deng Kai's suggestion and said that Donkey was a news website with great potential. Deng Kai expressed his gratitude. At the hotel where Sporting Lisbon was staying, reporters appeared again. Reporter, Deng Kai, Keira Knightley just clarified your relationship, saying you're just friends. Are you disappointed? Will it affect your performance tomorrow? Deng Kai laughed, I'm lucky to be Keira's friend, isn't that good? Don't try to figure me out with your own thoughts, and similarly, don't try to predict my form with your football knowledge. At least until the end of tomorrow's match, nothing can stop me from doing 3 things. Reporter, what 3 things? Deng Kai, eat, sleep, and play Barcelona. The next day, match day officially arrived. The Barcelona vs Sporting Lisbon match and the Arsenal vs Juventus match would be held at the same time to avoid any match fixing. Barcelona's announced starting lineup was Saviola, Kluivert, Rivaldo, Quaresma, Xavi, Cocu, Gerrard, De Boer, Christenverd, Puyol, Valdez. The bench features players like Overmars, Giovanni, Enrique, and Mata. Reserve goalkeeper Valdez started because Bonano was injured in the previous match. This means the La Masia goalkeeping duo, Reina and Valdez, finally get to play together. Especially for Valdez, Reina has always been considered superior. Even though he outmaneuvered Reina, it was precisely because Sporting Lisbon believed Reina was better. This will be Valdez's chance to prove himself. Gerrard started because Barcelona still wants to salvage the situation. After all, he cost nearly €20 million to acquire, and for him to be unable to even play as a substitute would be a huge loss. Even the Catalans, with their wealth, don't spend money like that. Meanwhile, Sporting Lisbon received both good and bad news. The good news is that Ronaldinho and Kaká, who were previously injured, have returned. The return of the Brazilian duo will maximize Sporting Lisbon's attacking threat. The second piece of good news was that Maxier had returned from burning incense, bringing mysterious power from the distant east, which might help Sporting Lisbon achieve victory. The bad news was that Sporting Lisbon's starting centre-back, Vidic, was suffering from a cold and would be unavailable. Sporting Lisbon could only field one of their few regular centre-back substitutes, Font. While Font looked mature, his performance was unreliable. He was far inferior to Vidic, Barzagli, and even Pepe, a versatile player. However, considering Guardiola needed Veloso and Yaya Touré as backups, Pepe had to play in the defensive midfield position, leaving Font as the only option at centre-back. Don't underestimate Font. Sporting Lisbon fans feared that Font's presence could ruin everything. March 20th, evening. Over 80,000 fans gathered at Camp Nou. Barcelona fans were eager to personally drive Sporting Lisbon out of the Champions League, thus avenging their defeat last year. Hello everyone, you're watching. Let's take a look at Sporting Lisbon's starting lineup. Just as predicted before the match. Cristiano Ronaldo, Drogba, Kaká, Duncan, Ronaldinho, Pepe, Guardiola, Barzagli, Font, Macon, Reina. Macon's presence shows Sporting Lisbon's determination to score in this match. We can see, wait, why did the director cut the camera away? That's, interesting. Two beautiful women have appeared on screen. This is one of the few areas where Sporting Lisbon fans are concentrated. Some people are already cheering, because these aren't two ordinary people, but two female celebrities. The one on the left is Victoria Beckham's wife, the Spice Girl. The one on the right is the English Rose who has caused a sensation in the entertainment and sports worlds these past few days, Keira Knightley. Unexpectedly, they've appeared at Camp Nou to cheer for Duncan. Keira isn't afraid of public opinion at all. It seems she and Deng Kai are truly innocent. This way, no one should bring this up again. Ronaldo, watching the big screen on the pitch, looked disdainful. So what if she's a female celebrity fan? He'll have his own someday. They'll be even bigger stars than Keira. Whistle. With the sound of the whistle, the match officially began. Barcelona fans erupted in a huge chorus of cheers and boos, putting immense pressure on Sporting Lisbon throughout. Half an hour into the game, their decibel level didn't drop at all. This challenged the eardrums of both teams, who are used to big occasions. However, to the fans' disappointment, even with all this commotion, the score remained a solid 0-0. Barcelona had been so enthusiastic before the match, but on the pitch, they were mainly passing the ball around. They could accept a draw, while Sporting Lisbon couldn't. What? How to explain this to Barcelona fans? Are they genuinely stupid or just pretending? Saying you'd annihilate Sporting Lisbon is enough. Anything can happen on the pitch, and stability is paramount. To put it bluntly, you can fool the fans, but fooling your opponents will have consequences. Especially since Barcelona's opponent is this Sporting Lisbon team led by Duncan. The Barcelona coaching staff can't forget the surprise and fear this player instilled in them. How tall was he last year? Around 1.7 meters? Or maybe not the around? He smashed 3 headers with incredible force. Ouch! Chapter 475 Font, Kai wants to eat fish. Sporting Lisbon had to ensure their record was better than Arsenal's. Even a slight difference wouldn't do, because Arsenal had a better head-to-head record against Sporting Lisbon, and if they were tied on points, Arsenal would advance. As halftime approached, the Barcelona players were all smiles. They played with ease. Sporting Lisbon, on the other hand, were like ants on a hot plate, beginning to feel anxious. Barcelona's control of the game is extremely strong. Their 3 center-back formation gives their midfield unprecedented dominance. Sporting Lisbon's relentless pressing in the first half didn't work. They're likely to face a fatigue crisis after the 70th minute of the second half. Sporting Lisbon's performance isn't as good as Deng Kai's boasting. This kid can't do anything but talk big. He can't even handle Keira Knightley. Many commentators mocked Deng Kai during halftime. This is the consequence of manipulating online traffic. When you're strong, traffic is friendly. But when you're weak, sorry, every drop of traffic is a sharp knife aimed at your heart. The second half began. In the 50th minute, someone finally stepped up and broke the deadlock. That person was none other than the underdog before the match. José Font. Quaresma dribbled past his marker, only to be brought down by a combined effort from Font and Pepe, earning Barcelona a free kick in a good position. Quaresma took the free kick himself. His curling shot couldn't get past Font's head. Font flicked it on with his head, sending the ball into the net with an exaggerated arc, ultimately setting up his former teammate Quaresma to score. Barcelona took a 1-0 lead. Font? Deng Kai? Sporting Lisbon fans? Own goal. Font scored a difficult own goal. My God. A small leak can sink a great ship. I knew Font shouldn't have been on the field. Even if it was ever, Font shouldn't have been on the field. It's over. Sporting Lisbon is completely finished this time. I never thought Sporting Lisbon's Champions League journey would end like this. It's painful, but it's also true. After all, this is the kind of mistake a Portuguese substitute would make at Camp Nou. Let's congratulate Barcelona in advance, and also congratulate Arsenal from afar. As long as they don't mess up, they'll be in the quarter-finals, not Juventus. Of course, Sporting Lisbon's performance this season has been excellent enough to reach the Champions League round of 16 with this lineup. It's a pity that Deng Kai is too stubborn and has made too many enemies, so they will inevitably be ridiculed by many fans after their elimination. Putting that aside, Sporting Lisbon's youth team actually did a really good job. Font stared dumbfounded at Quaresma, who almost rushed over to celebrate with him. Did I mess something up? Evra, sitting on the bench, trembled. Hey, you didn't really mess anything up, you just embarrassed me, Kai. Not just Evra, but the entire Sporting Lisbon bench was truly desperate to play. Damn it. Mr. Tragura looked towards the bench. Was he planning a substitution? Don't substitute me, please don't substitute me. What if I make a mistake too? Then I'll be overtaken by Kai. Getting old, even sitting on the bench, I feel a bit fatigued, Deschamps said seriously. Our height advantage is crucial against Barcelona, we can't let it disappear because of me, the 1.73-meter tall Evra said equally seriously. The wind at Camp Nou is too strong. It's not good for me to take off. Wu Zedong silently removed his shin guards. My rough technique can't provide effective help to the team at Camp Nou, which is a pity, Yaya Toure said nervously, avoiding Tragura's gaze. Veloso appeared dazed, but deep down he believed that a straight-up game couldn't possibly be serious. Font. Maxa, already standing at the edge of the field, called Font over. This isn't your problem, buddy, but I'm taking you off now. Font shook his head frantically, tears welling in his eyes. No, don't do this, I'm really doomed. Let me stay on the field, I promise I won't make another mistake. I have to make up for my mistakes, otherwise I won't be able to explain to Kai. Maxa had a sudden inspiration. No, you don't need to worry. Kai never blames those who work for him, just as God never blames Jesus. But now Kai has a more important task for you. After conceding the goal, I heard Kai say he wanted to eat fish. It was just an own goal. I believe a pot of boiled fish can make someone forget everything. Font immediately nodded. Eat fish? Stir fry? Sure, that's his forte. Play football? Defend? That's a bit beyond him. But the problem isn't with him. Sending the cook to play football is clearly Benzema's fault. Oh. Sporting Lisbon has substituted Veloso for Font. Veloso has moved to the defensive midfield position, while Pepe has dropped back to center back. This adjustment is normal. Font is still too much of a stretch to handle players of Kluivert, Rivaldo, and Quaresma's caliber. Maxa and Tragura didn't blame Font. Maxa even followed Font into the player tunnel, muttering something, probably comforting him. Maxa, you must add peppercorns, star anise, bay leaves, and cinnamon, but be careful not to make it too spicy. Kai doesn't like spicy food. On the field, Sporting Lisbon pressed more aggressively after the substitution, and the ball finally began to be frequently controlled by them. Barcelona, tired of controlling the ball, simply started to camp in the box. Sporting Lisbon didn't score a single goal in 60 minutes. And so on. Sporting Lisbon still couldn't score in the remaining 30 minutes. 1-0 victory. Sweet. 63rd minute. Deng Kai found an opportunity in the passing game with Guardiola, Kaká, and Ronaldinho. A through ball finally broke through Barcelona's defense. But the problem was that there wasn't enough space for the ball. Barcelona's formation was too compressed. Ronaldo cut inside without the ball and had just approached when Valdez rushed out. Ronaldo could only poke the ball. The ball bounced off Valdez. Drogba immediately followed up with a shot. But Puala anticipated Drogba's shot and quickly went to the basket, blocking the ball with his back. The ball bounced up. Kaká rushed up and jumped, preparing to head the ball. But Barcelona's only tall center-back, Cristiano, finally reacted, shoving Kaká aside. Both fell to the ground, neither touching the ball. After the ball landed, before it had fully bounced, Ronaldinho made a clumsy diving save. Bang! The ball, after all its struggles, finally went where it was meant to be. The ball nestled into the net. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.